Welcome to the League of Melanated Gentlemen podcast. I am Spenser. I'm one of your hosts on this glorious podcast that we enjoy doing so much. And today, I'm joined by the other members of the League of Melanated Gentlemen who have come here to give you yet another movie review for the MCU.
This is Brandon.
And I am very excited, Jordan.
Oh, but wait. There's more. Today, we are joined by one of our favorite guests, one of our, longtime listeners. You've heard his voice before. He has been a dear friend to the podcast since the very beginning. Would you like to introduce yourself?
According to Spenser, that would be Mr. Percival.
Mr. Percival!
Otherwise known as David, but yeah.
Yes, we have many Davids here. So.
Yeah, not to be confused with Black David. This is Ambassador David. Just in case anybody got their voice confused.
But I call him Mr. Percival. I think I've only called you David like a handful of times.
Yeah, the years we've known each other, it's maybe 3 times.
Yeah. So, as is the case, we're gonna review a movie. And thank you, Mr. Percival, for joining us today. You keep up with the MCU, so this should be a good and fun time. We have a couple of things that we need to get out of the way first. As is always the case, got to do housekeeping. Jordan, where can the people find us?
The people can find us on Facebook at the League of Melanated Gentlemen podcast. We have a Facebook group. We're always active in there. You can always find us on Twitter as well at the LMG podcast. And then you can also follow us on YouTube at the League of Melanated Gentlemen. Like, subscribe, all the stuff that the YouTube people say. Also rate and review us on Spotify, Apple Music, anything that you use to stream this podcast. And yeah, just leave a review. We love hearing from people, especially the Facebook group. I love interacting with other people who enjoy this so-called thing we call nerd culture. I love just talking about it though. So yeah, the Facebook group at the League of Melanated Gentlemen podcast.
Excellent. Another bit of housekeeping to get out of the way. You can join me on Friday for an episode of DC Animation with Spenser and Friends. It will be episode 6. I will be joined by a dear friend. You will have to see who when we get there. It should be a good time though.
I think do we have another announcement too? Do we want to announce it, or do we want to wait?
It's up to you.
No, it's up to you.
Yeah, that's.
Okay.
I'm throwing you the lob. Come on, LeBron.
Yeah.
I like the tease.
Yeah, thank you. Wrestling with Worldwide Willis. The first episode is coming up. Will that be this upcoming? So you listen to us it comes out on Monday. So Wrestling with Worldwide Willis will come out on the Wednesday. We're just gonna talk about wrestling and talk about the latest pay-per-view and a bunch of different things. So definitely check that out.
So this is another spin-off podcast that we are presenting. And if you love wrestling, Brandon loves wrestling. So this is going to be, a fun-filled show. I'm excited for it.
It'd be a good time. Brandon is one of the most successful people I've seen run an alone podcast. Like, I can't do it.
I agree. Me and Spenser have talked about it plenty of times. Like, Brandon, you do an amazing job. Like, when you're by yourself, I'm like, I don't know how you do it.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I think something wrong with me in the head that I can just go on a rant for 45 minutes. Yeah,
because I need this. I need discussion.
Yeah, I'll just go. Yeah.
Well, good on you, because like I said, I cannot do that. Right. And that's a very useful skill.
Yeah.
So, before we jump into this, Jordan, I need you to run the spoiler warning for me. Listen to these words, for they may determine your next course of action. This is your official name brand League of Melanated Gentlemen spoiler warning. We are issuing this spoiler warning not only for the piece of media or content that is in the title of this episode, but also for the world or the universe in which that piece of media or content exists. If you are not caught up, I would highly recommend you pause my voice, you catch yourself up, and then you join us once again. If you are all the way caught up, and or if spoilers do not offend you, please enjoy. And with that out of the way, I'm going to read a synopsis in my own words, and then we're just going to talk about the movie. I am going to let you know it's got a lot of stuff in it, so the synopsis may run a little long. I will also say that because there are flashbacks interwoven into the movie, I may read it out of order as far as what happened in the movie. If you've already seen the movie, you should be good. But I'm going to have a flashback section and then talk about the quote unquote present day. So if it reads out of order, that is why, seeing as how the flashbacks were interspersed, but it'll make sense when we get there. All of the things I say happened in the movie, so we should be good. We open to a peek into Rocket's turbulent past. In the present day, the Guardians previously purchased Nowhere, and it is now acting as their HQ. Star-Lord is getting drunk because he is still not okay from losing Gamora. Adam Warlock shows up and has a fight against the Guardians. Nebula stabs him, forcing him to retreat, but he wounds Rocket before he leaves. The Guardians try to heal Rocket, but he has a kill switch attached to his heart, which is not allowing the heal tech to work. They need to go to OrgoCorp in order to get the information they need to get around the kill switch. We get another peek into Rocket's past, so now we're going to just take a look at it. He was experimented on by the High Evolutionary in efforts to create pretty much like making animals into humans for a counter-Earth that he's working on. Rocket meets some other animals that have been experimented on, and he makes friends with them. And the other animals name themselves. We have an otter who names herself Lila. We have a walrus who names himself Teefs, and a rabbit who names herself Floor. Rocket was watching the High Evolutionary lament about his subject being full of rage instead of peaceful like Rocket. Rocket sees the problem and comes up with the answer to fix it. The High Evolutionary was super impressed, but also super pissed that Rocket was able to figure this out and he wasn't. He then lets Rocket know that he and his friends will not be going to the New World, and he ordered his people to study Rocket's brain since he was capable of figuring this out, and none of the other creations are able to do that. Rocket lets his friends know what the situation is, and he breaks them out of captivity, but the High Evolutionary saw this coming, and Rocket's friends are killed. So Rocket responds by painfully tearing off the High Evolutionary's face and stealing a spacecraft to escape. Coming out of flashbacks, the Guardians get some help from the Ravagers, among whom is 2014 Gamora from Endgame. Nebula has been in contact with her this whole time, but of course didn't let Star-Lord know that because she didn't want him to be ridiculous, a tendency he has. They are able to break into... lost my place. Yeah, they're able to break in, but they end up getting caught, and they have to fight their way out. They manage to escape with Rocket's file, but the kill switch unlock has been removed from the file. They figure that one of the High Evolutionary's top guys has the information that they need, and they're going to get it from him, and they're pretty sure it's a trap. But, you got to do what you got to do. Gamora is not interested in going, and while trying to leave, ends up letting Adam Warlock know exactly where they are. They are wanting to capture Rocket to regain favor with the High Evolutionary. The Guardians arrive on Counter-Earth and discover that it is inhabited by animal-human hybrids. They get help from some bat people, and they find the guy that has the information that they need, so they decide to Scooby-Doo this thing, which means they split up. Groot, Star-Lord, and Nebula head to where the High Evolutionary is, which is his ship, while Mantis and Drax stay on the Guardian ship with Gamora and Rocket. On their way to the ship, they notice how similar to Earth this quote-unquote perfect world is. Star-Lord and Groot are able to meet with the High Evolutionary, but because Nebula is a living weapon, she has to stay outside. Drax can't follow instructions, so he and Mantis leave the Guardian ship and make their way to the High Evolutionary ship. Since it is, of course, a trap, Pigma is sent to capture Rocket. Gamora fights him off, and Adam Warlock shows up, but, ends up putting Pigma in a casket, because that's just how it's got to be. In the meeting upstairs, Star-Lord points out the imperfections that he came across on his way there, and the High Evolutionary initiates the destruction of the planet so that he can start over. As his ship goes into space, Star-Lord and Groot jump off with the guy who has the information that they are looking for and successfully remove it from him. Then, Gamora shows up with the Guardian ship to pick them up. Unaware of this, Nebula, Drax, and Mantis get on the High Evolutionary ship to save Star-Lord and Groot. Star-Lord is able to get the kill switch unlocked, but Rocket starts to die and takes a trip to the light, quote unquote, where he has a conversation with Lylla, who does the whole not yet thing. So Rocket wakes up. Nebula, Drax, and Mantis come across a bunch of imprisoned children on the High Evolutionary ship before getting back in contact with Star-Lord, and they are able to hear Rocket's voice for the first time since this all went down. They are then knocked out by the High Evolutionary and put in a pit with abelisks. Mantis is able to befriend the abelisks and uses them to escape, and then they meet up, and the Guardians are back together again. Kragman and Cosmos show up with Nowhere and attack the High Evolutionary ship. The High Evolutionary is only concerned about capturing Rocket, so his squad attempts to betray him and take over the ship, but he hits them with an almighty push. Cosmo is able to help get all of the children out safely to Nowhere, and Adam Warlock shows up again. The Guardians save his life because, they're the good guys and we need him later. So Rocket comes across the animal cages and he finds the cages with the baby raccoons. He then accepts the fact that he is a raccoon and he is about to leave, but the High Evolutionary shows up and is furious. Of course, the rest of the Guardians show up and use the power of friendship to defeat him, leaving him on the ship to die because it's going to explode. Everyone is able to get off the ship in time except for Star-Lord, who begins to die in the cold vacuum of space. But because they played Change of Heart earlier, Adam Warlock saves him. The band breaks up because Star-Lord wants to go meet his grandfather, Mantis wants to backpack through Europe and find herself, and Nebula wants to be the mayor of Nowhere, and Drax wants to stay and raise all of these newly freed children. Rocket is the captain now. Gamora goes back to the Ravagers, and we see the first set of credits roll. After the colorful credits, we see Rocket and his new Guardian squad preparing to handle a new mission, and after the black credits, we see Star-Lord having a very regular conversation with his grandfather while he's reading a newspaper about Kevin Bacon's abduction. And that is the movie.
I don't even need to watch the movie after that.
I know. That Spencer does a thing with those. I'll tell
Good
you.
work, man.
I can literally watch the movie and forget everything.
Yeah,
we know that. We've had that conversation.
Oh, yeah, we've seen that.
Yeah,
but no, that's a good point. I forgot a few little small details, so that definitely helps.
Yeah, and I didn't go over every little thing because that's what the conversation will be. But
Right.
Mr. Percival, let's start with you. We're going to give general overviews. What did you think of the movie?
Absolutely loved it. I probably had tears in my eyes for probably 75% of the movie. And I'm not someone who typically cries in movies, but it was just, they just kept hitting you right in the heart. Every little flashback, little young Rocket, and then once the beginning happened and we saw Rocket, get taken out very quickly, I felt pretty confident that he was going to live throughout the like by the end of the movie. But then, every 15 minutes or so, they teased somebody else dying. And so I was just kind of on edge the entire movie. It was a very stressful and cruel movie for someone who like cares about the characters. I'll just say that.
Right.
I definitely agree.
Jordan?
Yeah, so I mean, I really love this movie too. And like David said, I did not expect to be crying in this movie. And when I tell you I was trying to hold back the tears, and I couldn't do it, man. This movie, it was emotional. The action was really good. They didn't overdo it with jokes, which I was very afraid of. I thought we were going to be in a situation like Guardians 2, but they managed to like really pull it off. My hats are off to James Gunn. He did an amazing job. Every character got their, good amount of shine. I was very happy at the path that the Guardians are going on. It kind of sucks to see the band break up, but I am, I felt like this story has come to an end, and I am happy with how they ended it.
Brandon?
Yeah, man. Like you guys said, like I thought this was amazing. Like I think this is the best MCU movie they've put out in a while. And I think James Gunn just like solidified himself. Like once again, it's just he really like if you look at every character, they all have a complete arc, right? Like they started somewhere and they ended on the other end, and you know why they ended up on the back end of it. So everything had a purpose, and I like that. Like the point of the movie was to save their friend. It wasn't some we gotta save the world now, or we gotta stop this person. Like they were just literally just trying to save their best friend. And so that was really cool. And again, making it about Rocket was dope. Just to get his origin. Team. Yeah, like get his origin finally, a real like legit know what happened to him, because they've kind of teased it, but now we get a legit, and it wasn't focused so much on Peter Quill and like they touched on everybody got their time to shine, which I really liked. And the villain was great.
Even Kraglin got a chance to shine.
Yeah, even Kraglin, like a bunch of people got, Cosmo, a bunch of people got like little moments, So I just thought this is a top tier movie, and they really killed it. Like they brought, now you got to be like, all right, Guardians franchise, all right, you're up there. You're up there with the best of them now.
What a way to go out! Like they did an amazing job.
Yeah.
What about you? What'd you think?
I don't know if I'm taking a trip on the hot take highway, but this is the best Guardians movie, period.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
It's close. I mean, Guardians 2 is top tier.
No, my God, don't do that.
Jesus. You trying to get kicked off early, aren't you?
I'll just peace out. I'll peace out.
Y'all know how I feel about Guardians kind of in general. It's usually not for me. This is by far the best Guardians property, in my opinion, as far as what we've seen from media. James Gunn knows what he's doing. I mean, that's no secret. I trust James Gunn, especially in situations like this. This was very James Gunn in that he took people that he has in other things and sprinkled them in here.
Yeah,
because he definitely took Myrn and Harcourt from Peacemaker.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I was happy to see both of them.
Wait. They was in this?
Yes.
High Evolutionary was in this.
Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. Who didn't?
I knew the High Evolutionary.
Okay. I was making sure you knew that because I was just
I knew that one.
But yeah, Harcourt was in it. She was the one on the mic.
Yeah, she was the main. Yep.
I could not tell that was her. Okay.
Yeah, she was in Black Adam too.
Okay.
But
yeah. In Black Adam, she was Harcourt, but she was. Yeah, and I mean I enjoy when people do that. I like when, because DC does it all the time, but I like when people take people from other stuff and just throw them in there, because we saw that in Endgame with people from Community, and we see it here, and I love the use of the extra people, or the people that we've seen from them in other things. Like that's loyalty,
right?
So what was the cryingest moment for you? If there was a cryingest moment. Because there were quite a few, but
there were quite a few.
For you personally, what was the thing that you were like, if someone was gonna get me, there it was?
For me, it was the Rocket and Lila. Like I knew she was gonna be like, it's not your time. Like I knew that already.
Yeah.
But that one still got me. Like he was so ready to get out of there.
Yeah, he was like, "Can I come?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one got me.
Yeah.
I knew that. Yeah, like we
Yeah, I
knew
knew.
it was gonna
That's
be
a
like,
classic.
Yeah, that was a pretty standard trope.
Right. For me, honestly, it was low key. Like obviously throughout the movie, you know, it was little moments, but the moment that got me, bro, and I was not expecting it to creep. It crept up on me quick. It was when what's Batista's character's name? Why am I forgetting? Drax. Anytime Drax was helping the little girls, or when they was like, Drax, you're a father, bruh.
Oh, yeah.
That part. Oh man, that got me.
Because she told him, it's like, you're not the destroyer, you're a father. It was like, oh man.
I was like, oh, come on. Like I didn't see that line coming, and so they hit me with a surprise right hook. And I was like, I was done for it.
And it was from Nebula too. Like Nebula was,
after she just like roasted him
ass was the one who was saying like,
she was like, I see you now.
Yeah, you're not meant to be a destroyer. You're meant to be a dad. It's like,
yeah. As a father, I was done. What about you, David?
Mine was probably similar to Jordan's. There's also the scene where Rocket's, trying to like just pick up all the little baby raccoons or whatever. Just like gather them all. But the one that Jordan mentioned, I really thought there was a split second where me and Lindsay were talking about this, where Lila says, it's not your time, or whatever the line was, it's not your time.
Yeah.
We thought like Rocket was going to go like sacrifice himself to like save everyone there at the end, because like that was his reason of living, was to save everybody. But
I didn't even think about that.
Thankfully that did not happen.
I thought when he came back and then everybody had left and he was like, hold on, I gotta go back. That's when I was like, okay, this might be the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like he got, like you said, his one last mission, or he's gonna finish off the High Revolutionary, or something like that.
I was saying he finally, for the first time, admitted that he's a raccoon at the
exactly.
origin.
Yeah, that was dope when he said his name.
That also got me right there when he looks up and like sees just like it says like raccoon or whatever.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything with Rocket got me crying.
Yeah.
Spenser, what about you? What moment was for you?
For me, the moment that if a moment was gonna get me, it was when they were on the comms and the three of them heard him speak, and like the emotion that they had, like hearing
Nebula,
him,
her reaction.
I forgot about that.
That was really good.
That's when I was like, ooh, right in here, like because I felt them realize like, oh my god, my friend is alive. Like,
that was Nebula thinks she's so hard, and then like she's like heard Rocket's voice, and then she couldn't control it no more.
Yeah,
he did that really well.
That was, for me, that was the moment, because I weirdly identified with Nebula in this movie. Because whenever Mantis had the conversation with Nebula about like, you only care about facts and efficiency, and people having emotional responses is weakness to you.
Yeah.
I was like,
Spencer, like, yeah, that's me too.
I was like, I've been accused of just throwing away emotional responses to things. Like, I would consider myself a very logical man, and I've had to come to terms with the fact that sometimes people don't make logical decisions, they make emotional ones, and that's gotta be okay.
Spencer Nebula Jones. Hey, that's crazy.
Let me see it.
So yeah, whenever I could identify with Nebula a little bit in the, like, I'm tired of these fucking idiots.
Yeah, just to be sitting there and you're stuck with Drax and Mantis, like, that would be and you're trying to get something done, bro. And
then the scene where they're on I know we're like jumping around. I like to start from the beginning, but I want to say the scene where he's like talking, they like sneak into that I don't know, that biodome place or whatever, and the guy's like, I got one of those idiots too, and like he like looks back at the dude, and like they had a whole conversation about that. That was pretty good.
Yes, I love Nathan Fillion. Fantastic. Nathan Fillion's one of my favorite white dudes, And usually,
Hey.
anytime I said one of, I said
David.
one of. He's not my
There's
favorite.
falling in the
He's-
rankings.
He's
Jeez.
one of my favorites. And Nathan Fillion is also from Suicide Squad. So, James
Yeah.
Gunn, yes, yet again. But anytime anybody's like, we need to cast a white dude for this, my initial thought is Nathan Fillion every
Yeah.
time. But I love Nathan Fillion. I'm glad he was in this. I was wondering how they were going to bring him into the MCU because I knew they were going to.
Yeah.
But
It was a really good role for him.
yes, it was. And again, I know we're jumping around. We will get back on track. But when Nathan Fillion hit Drax with that motherfucking bop gun,
I thought Drax
yeah.
was dead.
I was
thought he
worried.
dead too.
I
Thought it
was
the
worried
rap.
because they were
Yeah,
acting like he was dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that second one, I'm like, yo,
Yeah,
When
when he
they
hit
got
him,
dead.
when he hit him again, yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, oh well, okay.
Yeah.
Because you know what made me think that? You remember when James Gunn got first counsel and Bautista was pretty outspoken when it came to that. He was like,
Yeah.
he's not going to do Guardians if James Gunn doesn't come back. So I thought, like, once James Gunn did come back, I thought he was like, I'm done, kill me off. So
Right.
I thought he was really gonna die.
Right.
And as Mr. Percival said, they put a lot of teases in there.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
There were a couple times where it's like, we're done, okay, because
Right.
Star-Lord, that one got me. I thought we were done here.
I thought
Yeah,
Solo
we were
was
done.
done too.
'Cause
100%.
when
It was a wrap.
when he swole up, I was like, oh, we're done here. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
he's already dead.
Yeah.
And
I
then
thought it was about to
Groot-
be really graphic and like
His head
Yeah.
Head explode.
Yes.
yeah, when Groot tried to like reach out for him and then froze,
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, there, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Star-Lord's done. He didn't get to meet Granddad. That's okay
Yeah.
though.
Oh,
So,
dude,
yeah, they-
Spencer, we didn't even do. We forgot to do.
Yep. Thank you. Super got off track.
Yeah.
Jordan, yes. It is time now for. Well, this will get us back on track. So, as of right, we're on the rails again.
Yeah. We're back.
It is time for a teaching moment. Actually, it's time for two. First, we need a teaching moment for Adam Warlock because we saw Adam Warlock, or we heard about Adam Warlock first in the second Guardians after credits scene, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Take it away.
Yeah, so Adam Warlock is a kind of complicated character. He's bounced around. So he first appeared in 1967, Fantastic Four. His origins has kind of changed throughout the years. But basically overall, yeah, he was created as a genetic perfect being, hatched from an egg, usually by the Sovereign, sometimes by the Enclave. A lot of people know him from the Enclave creating him, a group of scientists creating him. He is then born, I guess, and then find out that the Enclave wants to use him for, evil means. And then he doesn't want to do that. So he wipes out the Enclave and then goes out. He doesn't want humans to know of his existence. So he goes into space. That's one of his origin stories. Usually it has to do with him being born. He was a huge part of the Infinity Gauntlet saga. That whole back in the 70s, 80s, around that era.
I think
time.
80s?
Yeah, I think it was
Say
80s.
Was
80s feels right.
80s, yeah. I want to say it's 80s. He was a huge part of that. Jim Starlin, I think Stanley created him originally, but Starlin took him to the next level with that run. And yeah, he's held the Infinity Gauntlet. He's been a huge part of the MCU. This is definitely a different take on Adam Warlock in this movie. Usually Adam Warlock is very more stoic, not comedy based. He's been a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy, that is definitely canon. However, he's a little more, regal, I would say. And so yeah, he's 6'2", 240. His power set is, as you saw, and those are very consistent with what you saw in the movie. Cosmic, kind of Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel sort of in that way, just a little more powerful, a little more OD. But yeah, Adam Warlock, outstanding character. A little bit of an alteration to his character, but I get why they did that. I get it's James Gunn, so we get he's going to add a little more comedy to it. But yeah, overall, that is Adam Warlock.
Also, another thing with Adam Warlock is, so Brandon mentioned the Infinity Gauntlet. Adam Warlock, he was inside, like his soul was inside the Soul Stone
Yeah.
for years. And so while in there, he ended up developing kind of an alter ego called Magus.
Mangus.
And
Yep.
Magus is kind of like his evil version of himself. And so a lot of times when he can't like deal with a situation, I think emotionally or even like physically can't deal with a situation, this alter ego, he tries to keep it checking, and a lot of times like it comes out. And so a lot of time heroes have to deal with that. And so it's all the same powers that he still has. He is just unhinged.
Right.
So yeah. And then also he goes also by him, which in the second Guardians, they kind of mention him. And then his mother, they call it mother here, but I think in the comics, I think it's his sister. But she is referred to as her as well.
Yeah.
So
I am
yeah,
him.
yeah.
All right. And we also have a teaching moment for the High Evolutionary.
Yeah, so the High Evolutionary it was created by Jack Kirby, first appeared in Thor 134 in 1966 of September. His real name is Herbert Edgar Wyham. He's 6'2", 200. And he built a genetic accelerator that basically had the power to evolve creatures and humans. But the people around him kind of shunned him for his work. And so he ended up using the machine on himself, which is kind of like how he transformed to kind of what you see in the movie. In the comics, he looks a little bit different, but he transformed himself beyond regular human. Then he also started using the machine on animals, which we did see in the movie as well. And then he created, but in the comics, the group of animals that he created, they were called the Knights of Wundagore, and so they also lived on the planet, the Counter Earth planet, which we also saw in the movie. Powers are kind of like we saw in the movies. He also has telepathy, astral projection, the standard superhero package: super strength, healing, flight, all that. Pyrokinesis, superhuman genius. I also know it's kind of a weird situation. So we know Wanda, Scarlet Witch, and then we know Pietro. What's his name again? His superhero name?
Quicksilver.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird because High Evolutionary got a woman pregnant basically by using his advanced genetics, and the woman ended up actually giving birth to Wanda and Pietro. That's kind of like a newer thing that they end up coming out with, but he is tied to them as he is basically their creator. And it's very weird, and a lot of times we don't like to talk about it in the comic community because it got so weird and convoluted. If you want to know convoluted history, Quicksilver and Wanda have the most.
Oh yeah.
This shit is wild.
Yeah.
Because like I always knew them as Magneto
kids. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So then they retconned it to and then they retconned it to say that no, the High Evolutionary had some play into it. So yeah, it's very weird. But that is the High Evolutionary.
And folks, this has been a teaching moment. Okay, now that we're back on the rails, before we get into the movie itself, I have a question for the table. Because Guardians is very known for this, what were your thoughts on the soundtrack?
Honestly, probably the third best as far as like music selection, I would say. I rewatched Guardians 2. Is it Lady by the Sea? What is that song? They basically based the whole movie off of that they sing. Brandy, You're a Fine Girl. Whatever that song's called. That was a really good song.
Keep singing, Willis. Keep singing.
I forgot what it's called. But like when when he explains it, like you're like, oh damn, like this is this lines up with what Peter and was going through with Gamora and stuff. But then overall, like I feel like the music selections, like Beastie Boys, doesn't do it for me. But I thought it was solid selections, but it was nothing that like just hits you off like Guardians 1, like from the jump. You're like, damn, all right, we going. And same thing with
hooked on a feeling.
Yeah, exactly. Just like Guardians 2 like start you out where this, and I get it, this was less music based than any of the other ones. It was especially supposed to give you a vibe of like sadness and loss, but yeah, I would say it's probably third best out of the franchise.
I'm not gonna let this go a second time. Jordan, the song is called "Come and Get Your Love." I don't know if it's called "Come and Get Your Love," but it is not "I've Got a Feeling." It's not the name.
Oh yeah, that is.
But is that not the song like in parentheses?
It's not the name of the song. "I've Got a Feeling" is Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's different.
Man,
it's like 2006.
Was it
Slightly different?
Yeah.
But yeah,
y'all know what I'm talking about anyway.
All right. For me, I am really happy with the inclusion of Earth, Wind, and Fire. But
was that in the ship?
Yeah, when they were
okay.
In the org.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Reasons, that was a good use of reasons.
Yeah, that's true.
Other than that, not super impressed by the soundtrack.
This is definitely the weakest, and he probably didn't want us to focus on the music, so he probably pulled out the better.
I would agree.
So,
I think this was a situation of like strategically not doing a fire soundtrack as to not take away from the emotion that was happening.
But it feels like 80s got a bunch of like sad ass songs. Like I'm sure you could have just thrown one in there for Rocket or something. You know what I mean?
I didn't pay no attention. I'm gonna be honest with y'all.
I think I'll have to, on a second watch through, pay closer attention because, like, looking up the soundtrack, obviously I recognize pretty much all the songs, but I also don't remember too much about Guardians 2 is just so far down there on my list. I really don't remember the soundtrack too well.
It was a pretty good soundtrack.
It was a really good soundtrack.
Yeah, for Guardians 2, it was pretty strong
some bangers
soundtrack
on there. Yeah.
But okay, so the opening is Rocket's beginnings, pretty much. Like, we just see a black hand take him out of the cage, and then we jump to the Guardians on nowhere. Now,
wait. That was a good scene already. You see a young Rocket's face, and like it's super close on him. And then they kind of age him up. You can start seeing the grays come in. I like that. That was good.
Yeah. And that's really, really well done, especially in CGI.
Yeah.
Because we see that happen with like real people all the time. Like they'll have the child and then it'll like move over to the adult. But like to do it in CGI was, to me, impressive. I don't know if it took any like real work, but like,
no, I like that. That was good.
Like you could tell the difference as it happened. And so, yeah, like that was well done. If you did not watch the Guardians Christmas special, then there's probably some things in here that make no sense to you.
Yeah.
Because
like brother, sister. Yeah.
Yeah, because the Guardians Christmas special threw in some very important things so that you will have to either just be confused or you'll have to go back and work your Disney Plus, because in the Guardians Christmas special, that's where we see that they purchased Nowhere. And that is where we find out that Ego was the father of Mantis as well, which are two important pieces of information, along with Kevin Bacon's, any mention of Kevin Bacon.
Right.
I'll say, if you didn't see that, if you didn't watch the special and then you watch the end credit scene, like the one with the grandpa, you'd be like, I don't get what's going on.
Yeah, and that's if you were even paying attention to the newspaper.
Yeah,
because they weren't talking about that.
David, did you like the Christmas special? I don't think we talked to you about it.
Yeah, I think it was fun. I think, it was goofy and it added some of these elements that they include in Guardians 3. So I think I'm glad I watched it. I don't know if it's something I'll necessarily watch again, but it was something that was, kind of fun to watch and kind of in between, movies and shows that came out. So
it was a good time.
So we see Star-Lord getting drunk because he's still not okay. And
my boy down bad.
Yeah, like they say again. So obviously this is an ongoing Like this is something that he's been doing.
Mhm.
Is just getting drunk on a regular basis, and then having to pretty much be carried out. And then Adam Warlock just shows up.
Right. Yeah,
Now,
that just started. I was like, damn.
yeah, like he
I ain't
just
gonna lie. When I first saw him flying through the galaxy, his suit almost looked like an Iron Man suit. Did y'all notice that or no? Like I just saw the red and yellow, and it immediately made me think Iron Man. I was like, "Do he have an Iron Man suit on?"
that
Mm.
I didn't see that. Like that didn't hit my eye in that way.
It reminded me of the extremist armor from Iron Man 3, the yellow and gold. Oh, I mean the red and gold. So I don't know. I saw that. I was like, that kind of looks like Iron Man.
His stuff kind of reminded me of like Eternals, like giddy up. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Okay.
Nah, I wouldn't get down with him.
Brandon, I see how you got there.
Yeah, it's like very royal type gear.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying now. Yeah, because the Eternals, they did all look like they were like in royalty.
Yeah.
Like they looked like they were a council of some kind. So yeah, like Adam Warlock he just shows up and is immediately a problem. Like he just hits Rocket.
Yeah.
Like they just start going.
Right.
And that was the first time we saw Nebula like crickety crack her way up.
When did Nebula get all the extra stuff?
Rocket did that, evidently.
Oh, makes sense. She did mention that, huh?
Yeah. Because I know that, was it Infinity War when she like burnt her whole arm, getting the Power Stone, or Endgame, or one of them movies. She burned her whole shit, and Rocket. I get. P.S. I'm assuming that this was Rocket paying her back for Winter Soldier's arm, which he got gifted in the Christmas special.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like she definitely. I don't know if she went and got actual Winter Soldier's arm. I don't know if that's the old one or the vibranium one, but
it's a knockoff.
She absolutely gave him a Winter Soldier arm.
That's the one from Wish. It wasn't real.
Wish did a great job on that because
it didn't fit. No, you must ain't order from Wish. Like he thought it would fit, and he tried to put it on. I was like, nah, this don't fit.
I got an extra large instead of a medium.
God. But yeah, I'm guessing that he was like, well, thank you. I'm going to do something for you now. And he gave her an arm that she can form into weapons and shit. Right. So
she definitely used it.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that's one of the things that we saw off screen. But she just kind of casually mentioned, like, he upgraded me, and so I'm here for him. Right. Like, I'm riding for Rocket today.
Yeah,
I guess I didn't catch that. So I guess that makes sense why obviously she's been rolling with the Guardians for a while. But I was like, that's why she's so emotionally invested in Rocket. It's because like he's done so much for her.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
And they also have like a connected history, because she mentions like what happened to him is worse than what happened to me. Right. And so she finds a common place with Rocket, and
which I don't know, because y'all remember that one scene, was it Infinity War when Gamora? I mean not Gamora. Endgame, yeah, she was all like sliced up.
She's all like, separated and
I'm like
pieced up.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah, but what Rocket went through, like it was some Nazi shit, because he had a number tattooed on him.
Yeah, thanks.
But I mean, she got a lot of her. I mean, I guess he did too. A lot of her body replaced with robotics, mechanical stuff. I guess he did as well. So
yeah. But like, I mean, and the experiments that he went through, like, I'm sure that was the painful part, because the extremities being replaced, that's a part of it. But then like his mind being altered and all that, I'm sure was also incredibly painful, because I would imagine that any transformation process hurts. Right. And the fact that he had to like, grow into, because raccoons are relatively, because they already have hands and they can stand on 2 feet and all that, but I mean, he still had to kind of be transformed into a more human-like being, and I'm sure that that's a painful process.
Yeah.
But-
Wasn't his like first words like hurts?
Yeah,
Yeah, it hurts.
That was the first time
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my soul.
Yeah.
And it's
yeah,
just like,
because
Yeah.
like he had like his head was shaved, so they had
Yeah.
obviously been in there.
Yeah, got the surgery. I was like, oh.
And yeah, like
and he had like this young voice. It
Yeah.
hurts.
Yeah, like
I was
he- yeah.
"Ah."
He said hurts in his baby voice, and it was like,
Yeah. Oh.
You
Yeah.
know what's crazy, and I think I told David this. I was like, even though I knew Rocket's origin from the comics, I still got caught crying. I'm like, yo, I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I knew Lila was gonna die. Like I still cried.
Right.
Like this is crazy.
P.S. Do y'all know who voiced Lila?
I do.
No.
Hawkeye's wife, Velma.
Really?
Yeah, it took me a minute to hear her, but yeah, once I was like, "Is that Velma?"
Mm.
Who is this?
I don't know her
Talking
real
about
name.
Jeremy Renner.
I was like, I like how you call her Velma and not her actual name.
Yeah, I don't know her name. To me, she's Lauren from Boy Meets World because Corey was out.
Oh,
there
the girl you
trifling.
kissed.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and she's Velma from Scooby Doo.
Gotcha.
She's Hawkeye's wife.
That definitely, yeah.
Are we talking about Hawkeye in real life or in the movie?
in the movie.
Linda,
Not
So
Jeremy
he-
Renner's
oh,
wife, Hawkeye's
her
wife.
name's Linda Cardellini, or however you say the last name.
Yeah. You'd recognize, you see her face.
Yeah, like she's in a bunch of stuff. She's Velma from Scooby Doo.
Yeah, but last time I saw
Obviously.
Scooby Doo was when it was 2002.
She was, I mean, you remember
Uh,
what was that, Infinity War?
Yeah,
Wait,
she was
which-
in Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron, that's right.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
first time she showed up. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But yeah, now that you say it, I hear it. You're right.
Yeah, but it took me a minute to hear it, like, because I was sitting there like, I know that I have heard that voice before, and I always try to figure out who voices people before we
Yeah.
get to the credits. And I eventually I was like, I think that's Velma, but they've already used Velma, so like, why would? But that's who it was.
Bro, they didn't have to do floor. I know we're skipping, but they didn't have to do floor like that. Bro, that was creepy as I was like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, you tore his face up. Now he has spider leg. I was like, come
They
on.
reminded me of the big head from Toy Story.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, it
Yeah.
felt like when I saw them, I was like, oh, this is some Sid from Toy Story shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what came to mind. And then I realized, like, oh, actually, this is more like what happened to Nebula. And then Nebula makes the reference herself. And I was like,
right.
okay.
That makes
So,
sense.
let's get back on the rails.
Yeah.
So anything about Adam Warlock appearing and fighting the Guardians, and then Nebula stabbing him, because we see him fight pretty much each of them.
Yeah.
And
you look powerful.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
he handled Drax.
yeah, because and it was so funny because the way that he threw Nebula and then the way that Drax threw him, there was a clear power difference. Like,
Yeah.
Nebula got yoked. Like, she, like, Nebula was flying and he just
Yeah.
kind of like gently glided
Right.
when Drax threw him. So I was like, either he's a lot heavier than Nebula or he's a lot stronger than Drax.
Right.
Because when Nebula got thrown, she was done.
He's out of there.
Like, she had to like re-crack her shit right.
She be like pop locking back to spot, back to
Yeah.
health.
She had to jabberwocky her way back to standing up.
That
But-
is hilarious.
So yeah, Adam Warlock, he showed up and demonstrated that he was a problem, but not too big of a problem. Because
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering, like, whenever he was like, that hurt, and then he dipped out, I was like, oh, he about to get some upgrades and be a serious issue later on. Because one of the things that they were talking about whenever the High Evolutionary was scolding the tall gold lady, which P.S., the fact that he was standing on a stool talking to her was hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Because she is a tall lady, like in real
Right.
life. I think she clears 6'2" in real life.
Dang.
Yeah, she's a tall lady. But yeah, the fact that he got up on a stool to talk to her was hilarious.
He is a small dude.
Yeah,
That's
but
funny.
yeah, whenever he was pretty much scolding her, and saying like, what the fuck? He's supposed to be perfect. And she was like, you took him out early. Like, he's basically a child.
Right.
Like, he wasn't done cooking yet.
Right.
I was like, okay, we might see like an evil upgraded Adam Warlock later.
Maybe, yeah. Potentially.
Because I was thinking that they were kind of going in that direction, but it looks like they did not. So we see that Rocket is early. Like, we see he's wounded, and Star-Lord tries to heal him, and it doesn't work because of the kill switch. And then Star-Lord does the whole, oh, if only I wasn't drunk, I would have. Star-Lord, shut the fuck up. You were not going to be able to help against Adam Warlock.
Yeah,
like,
they weren't able to do nothing.
I see why
too.
you're. Yeah, I get you, but like, nah, you being drunk did not contribute to the situation. Like, this is how this was going to go. So then we get into the crux of the movie. They say we need to save him. I don't give a fuck what else we're saving him. Period.
Right.
And the fact that that's what the movie was about, I was like, I support this. Yeah, because I don't need the world to end.
Yeah.
I don't need those kind of stakes and like all that shit. Like, we are on a mission to save our crew member. Let's fucking go.
And
Yeah,
for
that's what I'm thinking
like,
picked
especially
up.
for the Guardians, like you would think the Guardians, with them protecting the galaxy, you think they would go all big, but for this movie, they did the opposite of what they decided to keep it small stakes.
Yeah,
and like wanted to keep it about their life.
Because the fact that they used the High Evolutionary, I was like, oh god, this is about to get ridiculous. But it stayed contained, in my opinion, anyway. Or it stayed a lot more contained than they led me to believe it was going to. Again, with the inclusion of the High Evolutionary, because he's big ticket usually.
I got a question for David, because I know Spencer, I know Brandon. David, did you watch any trailers for this movie?
No, I don't believe I watched a single one for this.
Okay. I only watched the first teaser that they released. I know Spencer didn't watch any. Brandon, did you watch the first one or anything?
I had to watch it pretty recently when I went to the movies to see something else, and that was the first time seeing the trailer though.
Okay. I was just curious about that.
Yeah, in my movie, anytime they start showing trailers I don't want to see, I get on my phone and start sending out my what's the next movie we're seeing texts.
Right. Yeah.
So like today I was sending out the Across the Spider-Verse texts. So listeners, you can look forward to a review on that later on. So I like that they kind of brought it back to our world and said, you know, he has this company where he does genetic experiments, but it's really just a shit. Like it's a front for the shit he's really doing. Or I guess the genetic experiments are what's being fronted. But I like they were basically like, it's capitalism. Like, he has these corporations in the front to like lead people to believe everything is above board, but here in the back, he's doing wild shit, and he's using, you know, his corporation to do that. And I was like, that feels real earthly.
Right.
But I mean, they made it clear that Earth kind of rules all, because the fact that they were speaking in years and are not of Earth makes no sense. Like,
yeah,
the fact that Star-Lord was like, yeah, people on Earth live to be like 50 years old.
Yeah, he's like, he has no clue.
Yeah, like, and
that was funny.
Him having that point of reference makes sense because he was 8 whenever he got taken. But Mantis shouldn't know what the fuck that means.
Because don't worry about it. That's just one of those things.
Yeah, and you know, I always
Mr. Logic over here.
Again, Adam Warlock flying around and shooting lasers, perfectly fine.
Well, they did visit Earth in the Christmas special. Maybe. But
she was there for like also, 6 hours.
Yeah, I was like, she probably also wouldn't know about ages. Never mind.
Exactly.
Maybe it's like a textbook history of like entire planets or something.
Drax taught it
that they study. Yeah.
I mean, but for them to use that, it doesn't matter. And then of course Kevin Bacon's over 50, so
How did remind me, why did the Ravager show up?
They were there because Nebula called them in for help, because Nebula's been in contact with them the whole time.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't know that because Star-Lord didn't know that.
That's right.
I honestly have forgot that she was still alive.
Nebula?
No,
I'm sorry,
Gamora. Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot that she was alive.
I remembered because I knew that they were going to do the whole "I'm not your Gamora" thing. Like I saw that coming from a mile away. Whenever Endgame happened, and she didn't get snapped off.
Yeah.
Right.
Not completely.
She's
I completely
walked
forgot
off.
about that.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, I know what this is. So
I did like the inclusion of that team. I forgot the actual name, but the Stallone.
The dude with the floating head.
Yeah, like
the
that's the
diamond
actual
dude.
group. Yeah, in the
And,
comics, I just forgot their names.
that magic snake, that couldn't talk.
Mm-hmm.
That thing was a problem.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
that whole crew was dope.
Yeah, the funny scene. This is what I liked about this movie. They had the funny scenes, but they didn't overdo it. Because remember, Adam Warlock. Oh, somebody was like, "Yeah, kill the dude with the carrot head," and then they changed to the carrot head dude. He's like, "What?" And then so they leave. He's still alive. He's like, "Ooh, dodge that one."
Oh,
that was funny. They didn't overdo or anything. It was just such a subtle thing.
That whole scene while they were in there was hilarious.
So let's talk about that scene before we get into Rocket's history. So this is where we meet Nathan Fillion.
Mm-hmm.
They are able to break through all of the shields, and I don't know how. They were just like, yeah, just turn the shield off. It's like,
did y'all notice how many times?
Because they said impenetrable shield, and they were like, not a problem.
Star-Lord did something. He kept doing it.
They're just flipping switches on his own ship. I didn't really get
that. Yeah. They did it like we were just in the know of space tech.
Did y'all notice how many times Mantis looked like she broke her neck in this movie?
Oh, that
she hit the ground.
I know.
Whenever they dropped her in the pit, I was like, oh.
It was like,
they did it on this part too with the moon part. It's like, like what in the world?
Yeah. She there were a lot of necks in this movie because we'll get to Nebula's later. But Mantis, she must have soft bones or something, because like they were
popped right up too. I'm like, what?
And let me say, this was a real they were real generous with this PG-13.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say that that is one of my annoying. I had no reason for them to include all the things that they included. Like, a lot of it could have been left out. It was that hard F. I know we're not there yet, but the hard F word.
Yeah, like
that was no need to be added in there.
Hey, you get one a movie.
Yeah,
and it was hilarious.
I loved it.
But now,
it was well placed.
I can't let my kid watch the movie now.
Well, you gotta wait till she's 13.
I know.
Now, you probably shouldn't anyways.
Now,
animals getting murdered.
Is that the first fuck in a Disney property?
That's the first in MCU history. I don't know about. It probably is, to be honest,
because they let that thing fly.
These movies. Well,
that's what I'm saying. Like, again, this was a loose PG-13.
In Thor: Love and Thunder, they showed his butt. I'm like, yo, Disney is like, these movies are getting looser and looser.
Man butt cheeks is usually fine as far as like.
Oh, we got to wait till we see the woman butt cheeks.
Yeah, like then it's gonna be like, oh, they're exploiting her. So yeah, but man butt cheeks is fine usually on TV. But
man, that's sexist. That's crazy.
No, but
time to move on from this.
I mean, we've been seeing man nipples this whole time. So
we'll go see the other side.
No, I'll be on here to make sure that Jordan does not get canceled. So we'll continue the conversation. Spencer, go for it.
Let's see Black Widow. Black Widow 2.
No.
All right. Stop it.
All right.
So they again just break through these impenetrable shields, barely an inconvenience, and then they get in there and Nathan Fillion shows up, and they're like, what the fuck is like they do the whole act thing, and Drax is just confused.
Yeah, Drax is bull, I'll tell you. That boy was slow.
Yeah, but
Everybody
then-
got one on their team.
Yeah, but yeah, that's when Nathan Fillion was like, I got one of those too. This guy, super proud of him. Like, couldn't be better. But this fucking guy,
I thought
He was
He's
like, hey.
he was like, I'm
Drax's
right
humor
here.
was really good. I thought
Yeah.
like his timing. There are times where Drax like he is really funny, but at times you're kind of like, okay. But this, I thought pretty much every line he had was pretty perfect in this movie.
This is why it's better than
Agreed.
Guardians 2, because in Guardian 2, he just did a lot of cringy stuff. I'm just like, but in this, it was like perfectly timed.
I feel like they pulled him back a bit, so then
Oh,
it
yeah.
doesn't, you're not overexposed. Whereas 2, it was just like Drax. We're just getting, he had success in 1, so they're just like Drax.
Just
Drax.
give him
Yeah,
all the
over and
minutes.
over. Exactly, yeah. A lot of shot attempts.
So, yeah, they are on there, and then Harcourt is, trying to figure out what's going on, and she eventually does. And fight breaks out, and again, they hit Drax with that motherfucking bop gun. And
Dude, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I thought he was gone.
he died. Like, especially again, the first one, I was like, ooh, that thing got some kick on it. But when
Yeah.
Nathan Fillion hit him with the second one, I was like, oh, we're done. We're done
Yeah.
here.
I thought it was going
I thought
to
it was a
blow a
wrap.
hole through him.
Yeah. I thought we were done. So yeah, that they got me.
Yeah. I thought it was
see-
a wrap.
Do y'all kind of wish, let me ask all three of y'all, do y'all kind of wish that he would have died?
No,
No.
because of how they used him later. No.
Yeah. We didn't get the payoff. We wouldn't have got the dad payoff.
Ah, true, that's
We
true.
wouldn't have got none of that. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
like he wouldn't have been able to rally the children, and yeah, like
Right.
the whole like, why didn't you tell me you spoke their language? Why didn't you ask?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
That was good. Yeah, that was good. Okay, I was wondering, like, if he would have died at that moment, would it have added more to the story, like more stakes now, even more?
Right.
I'm glad they
definitely-
didn't, just because
Yeah.
of again how they used him later.
Yeah.
Right. But I can see what you mean. I think and I'm glad the way it ended, and we'll talk about that, but it definitely, if somebody would have just got offed early on, it definitely would have been like, oh, shit. Like,
Like, yeah, like this movie has some stakes for the Guardians.
right. Like, it's for real, for real.
So they're on the ship. The fight happens, and Peter says to Gamora, like, you get to see the man in action,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
he
that
starts.
Riz.
Yeah, he starts talking to old girl.
Whoa,
and
whoa,
then
whoa, Brandon,
Gamora
bro.
shows in.
You over 30. What you doing using the word Riz?
What are you talking about? We can use the word Riz.
No, that is a 25 and below term. We don't use
Oh, I
that.
didn't know we had rules. I didn't know that.
You too old for that. You
My
too
bad.
old for that. Sorry.
My bad.
You've been hanging around all these young kids, man. Man. All right,
My
sorry.
bad.
Got triggered there for a minute.
Triggered. Okay.
Yeah. Little sensitive ass.
Mr. Percival, do you use the word Riz?
What?
Look at me. Absolutely not.
I wasn't making any assumptions, but okay.
Spencer, do you use the word
Absolutely
Riz?
not.
Absolutely not. But
Exactly. Brandon, you too old to be using the word Riz.
I don't use it in my common language. It was a joke, though.
I don't think it's an age thing. I think it's
Oh,
just
is No, it's definitely age thing.
you think so?
Oh, it's this what's this Gen Z? The 23-year-olds? The Gen X, whatever Gen they is.
Zoomers.
Yeah, it's them.
Yeah.
Sorry. I feel
all
old.
right.
Yeah, I feel like the old man just now.
Good.
You should.
But yeah, he pulled out his game. He tried to spit game at her.
Yeah, and then Gamora was like, "Fuck that," and took her
Then she
hostage.
pulled it out.
Yeah,
With the
she
blower.
was
I didn't. I was like, why did you do like that? Escalated way too fast.
quickly. Because yeah, like Star-Lord was doing the whole "Hello, ma'am."
Yeah.
I would just like to. Have you heard the good news about our Lord Jesus Christ? And then,
Like,
then
let me
Gamora-
mispronounce her name and everything.
yeah, Gamora's like, everybody on the fucking ground, right? And he was like, dude, what are you doing? And she was like, she wasn't falling for it.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I was working it. She was like, no, you weren't.
Right.
Hey, he got a good payback though. He got
Oh,
a good
yeah.
payback.
Yeah, he got it
You already
later.
get. You already need it. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so that worked out. But yeah, and then later he does the, please, I just want to help my friend.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
I just want to help my friend.
And then yeah, she lets him in, and he was like, "Gotcha, bitch."
He's like, I'm not that stupid. He's like, I'm not that stupid.
Yeah.
And so they escape. So now let's go ahead and talk about all of the flashbacks that we see. So we see Rocket and the High Evolutionary walking, and he's going over and I don't know if he's talking to Rocket necessarily or if Rocket's just with him, but he's doing the whole they're super rage induced, because I definitely whenever I saw the turtle in there, I was like,
Ninja Turtle.
Leonardo?
I'm gonna be honest.
Is that you?
So at the movie theaters when they go see it, they were like a group. This is why I hate teenagers. I'm saying this is why I hate teenagers. They were kind of talking a little bit
old,
throughout the
bro.
movie.
You
Bro, I
old
know
man
it's crazy.
Stepping
I
on
do
your
feel
lawn
old.
type energy today. All right.
Dude, I'm telling you. But there was this little group of teenagers. They were kind of talking, being a little loud during the movie. And even myself, I'm like, yo, I should go punch one of them in the face. And then at that
It's
moment,
assault, Jordan.
Yeah, that's why I didn't do it. I was like, I got a life to live. I ain't trying to go through all that. But at that moment, somebody was like, oh, there's Leonardo. And so I see this older white man. He walks down, he leaves the theater, and then I see him come from the opposite direction. He came back in pretty fast from the opposite side of the stage. And then next thing I know, the security guard came in there and went to go talk to the teenage boys. And they got real quiet after that. And I was like, good for that old man. He went to go snitch and they didn't even know it. I was like, good for him. Because I wanted to do it, but ain't no way I was going to do that.
Jordan's got that old white man mentality about him.
Dude,
that's what it's feeling like.
Dude, I'm like, get off my lawn. Don't
pull
you
up your shorts
right now? Yeah.
Pull up your pants, young man.
Hooligans around here.
Yeah.
But that was the moment.
Wasn't that hippity hop?
Listen to that mess.
Yeah, but I definitely thought about the Ninja Turtles when they did that. That would be a cool little reference, though.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Raphael, okay.
Yeah,
but so we see Rocket pretty much figure out oh, this is why. Yeah,
right.
And the High Evolutionary is like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he did not expect that.
Did not expect that at all, and he's been chasing that. That was his whole motivation. Was
right.
I have got to figure out how the fuck this happened. So he does it, and then he pulls Rocket out, and he was like, how the fuck did you know that? How did you know it? Because it worked.
Well, yeah, when he came crying to him, I thought he was dying or something. I'm like, he is distraught. I'm like, what is his problem? I thought he was dying and he needed a Rocket to help him out. He's like, no, how did you know?
Yeah, he was like, no, you figured it out.
Right.
And I have to know how.
Yeah.
So I guess I have a question because I'm not familiar with him in the comics, but is that his personality is just because he pretty much anytime he was talking, any of his lines were just kind of screaming and yelling, and I didn't know if in general that's just how he acted or it was
talking about the High Evolutionary.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's more of the very cocky, outspoken, smart guy. Wants to continue knowing everything. Wants to continue building towards his perfect civilization. So, yeah.
I don't know him as very emotional, but I don't know him very well. So
yeah. I feel like he doesn't really pop up a lot.
Yeah, but I don't have the authority to speak on that, but is with my little understanding of him, yeah, he doesn't have that emotional piece to him, really.
Right. No, I agree with that.
As far as how he was represented, other than the emotional pieces, I feel like they lightly modeled him after Kang in Ant-Man 3.
Okay.
In the whole super serious villain in a comedy movie, and the whole honestly on his own ship having ultimate power.
Right.
Whenever he was on his own ship, he was doing some of the same shit Kang was doing with locking people down with telekinesis and openly using threats to say, I will ruin everybody's fucking day.
I can
if
see
I don't
that.
do what I want. But and that's why I say lightly, because again, he had a lot more emotions within him. And he was a lot more singularly focused on one objective. But yeah. Anyway, the High Evolutionaries, like, I'm super impressed, but like, nah, it's a problem for me that you did it and I couldn't.
Yeah.
And so
we also see where Rocket got his name from too. Like he sees the rocket taking off, and we finally got to see that.
Yeah, that was a cool touch.
Yeah, because he sees the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice little moment. And that's the thing, they sprinkled in those little, like, they made you love him more.
Right.
Yeah. He was always my favorite Guardian. Like, I've liked Rocket.
Because Rocket is great. And so like they just made you, again, they made you love him even more. Just to, give you all this pain that he went through.
So, David, who's your favorite Guardian?
Rocket.
Mine's Peter Quill.
Ew.
No,
I was gonna say, dude. You watch Infinity War. It's not Peter Quill.
I will say, James Gunn did say he believes the Russo brothers made it harder to make a Guardians film after that, because he feels like Peter Quill wouldn't have done that. The Peter Quill he created or he wrote for wouldn't have done that. But they used Peter to do it, to, obviously punches Thanos and blah, 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 and ruins the whole thing. And he said it made Peter look like an idiot, when in the first two Guardians, he wasn't an idiot. Like, he was very smart. He was very, knew how to run a ship, knew how to do a bunch of different things. And he was captain of everybody. So he was basically saying an interview, all right, that made things difficult. So we had to kind of figure out how to
navigate around it.
Yeah, making in Guardians 3 to where you actually believe in Peter again.
I can see that, but also in Infinity War, he's kind of going up against, Thor, Iron Man, all these things where it's those different personalities he's having to go up against. So I could see him as his demeanor changing.
Yeah.
But I also see what you're saying, where that's definitely a shift from how he was in the first two.
Yeah.
I would say, because also in those movies, he was like Dave was saying, he's trying to big up himself up against Thor, up against Iron Man, all against these other real manly characters who have real leadership ability, which Peter does too, but he's comparing himself to them.
Yeah, because they
real beards and real manly voices,
right?
Yeah,
this the guy. They paired him up with Thor, because they paired up Tony with Doctor Strange,
right?
And then they paired him up with Thor, and that was a challenge for him,
right?
Because, he's used to being the
number one guy.
Yeah, the number one guy who is the somethingist, whether it be the smartest or the coolest, the best looking, the whatever. So Thor just shook his whole shit up.
Right.
But
you know what?
James Gunn saying that makes sense though.
Yeah, I agree. I forgot to mention, this is just a little nugget for people who know. The High Evolutionary, when he was in the comics, one of his biggest people who inspired him is Nathaniel Essex. Essex. Yeah. Do y'all know who that is?
I do. And that's the vibe that I was getting.
Brandon, you know who that is?
Wait, Nathaniel Essex. What is it? What is that? Hold on. No, tell me. Hold
on. David? I know you don't know him.
Yeah, absolutely not. What do you think?
Yeah.
Didn't even have to come at him like that.
I know.
I know you don't know.
Those are rookies. That is Mr. Sinister from the X-Men. If you think about it,
I was about to say X-Men. God damn it.
He was one of the leading geneticists, and what is a High Evolutionary? He focused on genetics.
Because Mr. Sinister's whole thing is making perfect mutants.
Which I will say, I thought about it and I got super excited because I want to see Mr. Sinister. I want to see Disney take a crack at Mr. Sinister.
I think that would be a good move. Because I love Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister is a problem.
Yeah.
So so he basically says to Rocket, hell no, y'all ain't coming to the new planet.
Right. Oh, I felt so bad for Rocket.
It was Rocket, you're a mistake. Other than the fact that you knew what the fuck you were doing, the rest of you is trash.
Yeah. Did he say you were He said something to him.
He basically told him how are you so smart you figured out how to fix this machine, but you couldn't figure out that you wasn't coming.
Did he say you were an abomination?
Yes, I think so. Something to
I
that
was like,
effect.
what? Like, that is wild. Like,
Yeah, like he
that
basically
crushed him.
yeah, he said
Yeah.
you are trash other
Yeah.
than your brain. So I'm gonna need
Exactly.
that. I'm gonna need that. But the rest of you, nah,
Yeah,
you're spare
in the
parts,
morning.
buddy.
Yeah, I'm taking that thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And so Rocket goes to his friends and he's like, no, we got to get the fuck out. Like, we're not going. And they were kind of like, what do you mean we're
Yeah.
not going?
So that's not what Papa told us. Papa said we're going.
And he was like, nope, we're not. And then Rocket starts getting going with them hands.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. He
Like
put a
he
Rubik's
was,
Cube
he
together.
was Rubik's cubing. Yeah.
Well, it's cool too because like it clearly shows that he, in the back of his mind, knew like he
Yeah.
might need an escape plan. And so even that scene before or something where they're in like the, I don't remember what room, you could
That's
see
when
him
he saw
like
the rocket.
Yeah, when he saw the rocket, he stole a couple of pieces or whatever to go
Right.
hide back in
Mhm.
the cage. So that was cool. I like that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that shows his history. Like he's always because that's his whole thing. Like that's why
Yeah.
Guardians 2 happened. Like he just be taking shit. And
It's true.
I forgot that is
Just
what
took the
happened.
light just for no reason.
Yeah.
yeah, so he be taking shit and he's a collector of things.
He's a klepto.
And so but he started Rubik's cubing and and he was like having conversation while he was doing it. And
Yeah.
I can't do a Rubik's cube today. So to be able to just be working that shit out and having like I was like, all right, this is a pretty smart little guy here. So
David, can you do a Rubik's Cube?
No, I cannot.
See, you're definitely someone I'd put money on.
Why? Because he's white?
Everything. No, he's good at everything.
Oh.
David's the type of dude he'd be like, I never played tennis before. And then I'd be like, David gonna kill at tennis. He's just one of them dudes.
I go out there and just aces all day.
Yeah, like we'd be like, we're going bowling. You have to pick. I'm like, I don't know if he can bowl, but shit, David, you all right?
Put money on David. He's never done it before.
I'm putting money on David. Like it's just the way it is. He's randomly good at stuff.
Rocket fashions together a key card, opens the door, and they're all emotional and hugging and shit. And then High Evolutionary just comes in with the piece.
Bang,
Bro.
bang.
And it was that was a very regular gun for them to be in space.
It's some Star Wars
like,
stormtrooper type gun.
Like I feel like everybody else had like lasers and shit. That was just like a Glock.
Yeah, he's got a Luger over there. Just
like
pull the trigger back.
Yeah, it's like I did not know Smith and Wesson were going to be in this movie.
Yeah,
I'm definitely not a gun guy, so if neither of those things showed up, my bad. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's just a regular ass gun. Because I was waiting to see I don't think Lila bled or anything.
No, she was there was just a hole in her.
Probably just because those insides is not in there no more.
Oh yeah,
jeez,
she's mostly machine at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then
then we got Teefs got hit, and the boy
Teefs and
Floor got hit.
Yeah, they got hit in the hole because that was some stormtrooper shit where nothing hit Rocket.
I thought about that too.
What?
I thought about that too when I see them in the background. I'm like, what? They didn't get hit. But as he was running through the thing too.
But also, the High Evolutionary was probably very clear, do not kill him because we need his brain. So I was like, oh, that's
unless they purposely, wasn't aiming for him. They purposely aimed for her.
Yeah, and that's what I'm assuming is that they had orders not to kill him. So yeah,
it felt like a G baby moment where it was just you look back and you're like, oh man, he died. Come on, you know what I mean? So
and then Rocket ripped his face off.
Oh yeah, that was tough. He's going after his face.
Yeah, he's definitely going in.
Yeah, because I was kind of confused as to how we got to the current High Evolutionary because he still had a face and that's where all of Rocket's attention was.
Yeah, her too.
Yeah, and so whenever we get to the end and we see him peel that shit off, I was like, that's how we got here. Because I was like,
Red Skull.
Yeah, because I was like, why does he have a face but the back of his head is gone? But they helped me with that. So And that's why that Skeletor reference was really good because of that.
Yeah.
But back to real life. So we are I guess we can talk about now. They escape the little weird organ corp thing.
Yeah.
And they don't have the kill switch they don't have the kill switch unlocked that they need. And they find out that one of the henchmen has it. So
they ride off to Counter Earth.
Yeah. So they go to Counter Earth and they're like, it's probably a trap. And they were like, yeah, it's not a trap, it's a face off. And also him saying face off was also funny.
Yeah.
Because you know.
Yeah. When Drax
off for sure.
being that little
oh yeah,
girl, whatever she was.
That's so good.
Off the dome, like
so
she like just happily throws the ball. Yeah.
Yeah, I do a bow. It's like, oh Jesus. It's like, what? We're playing.
Pick that little girl out, bro.
Yeah, like dodgeball, done.
Yeah.
Did y'all think they were gonna make a Batman reference? Because I thought like once they saw like the Bat people and the Batman, I thought they were gonna be like, whoa, look, there goes Batman. Like I thought they were gonna say
yeah,
that.
like since it's Guardians and they have like spoof and comedy on their side, I was definitely anticipating a Batman reference or a Man Bat reference or something.
Yeah.
Like I'm surprised we didn't get one.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, so they arrive, people start throwing shit, and then
I ain't gonna lie, I had a nitpick with that.
Okay.
Where did all this random rocks come from? Because like the scenes before that, there was no rocks anywhere. And then magically out of nowhere, everyone's throwing rocks, and then you see the rocks on the ground. I'm like, yo, where are these rocks come from?
Nah, don't worry about that.
I know.
Sure got to know the details.
It only took me out the movie for a minute. Then I got
just
back
grabbing asphalt straight out of the street and just throwing the chunks.
Dude. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, where did that come from? And then I was like, all right, I just gotta ignore it.
So one of the things that happened that I thought was hilarious, and this is something that people do, not anytime, but a lot of times when English speakers are talking to someone that doesn't speak English, they talk really loud. And I mean, I don't want to call it white people shit because I feel like everyone does it, at least that speak English. But yeah, like the fact that they couldn't speak English and he was like, we are trying to like, it's like, oh, I hate it. But that's very realistic.
Right.
Like that is absolutely what people do. And I thought that was really funny because that was very like that's exactly what happens.
Right.
And so yeah, the whole dynamic of like the husband being like, what the fuck is happening right now?
When he asked for that car, he's like, we need that car. He's like, oh man, my car.
It was like,
you just noticed what thing.
Yeah, he was not happy. But he was exactly right to feel that way. Like, what the fuck are you doing letting these strangers in the house?
At the end of the day, we saw it didn't even matter because my boy High Evolutionary blew that thing up.
Yeah, he did. But
I was wondering about that, like all those people just died.
Yeah.
We've seen that he does not give a fuck about any of his creations.
Yeah. No.
Also, I honestly stopped thinking about those people though. Like, obviously, when they first start exploding, you think about it, but when they get up to the like ship or whatever, you're just like, oh well.
Yeah, like they're dead,
dude.
I was like,
that Groot and Star-Lord scene was really good though, because like I was wondering really when he was like, Star-Lord gave him the guns. He's like, you know what these are for, and then like when you see him pull out all the guns, and then he throws
that was fire.
Oh, that was fire. Yeah,
like back to back. Yeah, that was fire.
So
we had like 10 arms.
Yeah. Groot was a problem. So they Scooby-Doo this thing, and they say, Drax, Mantis, you stay here with Gamora. Gamora got on the phone, and when Adam Warlock just evaporated that dude.
Oh
yeah, I forgot about that.
He's like, show him we mean business.
He like looks around like,
right.
huh?
All right.
What do you mean? Yeah, I was like, I didn't mean kill him.
Yeah, like, and
It's
that
like, who
dude-
else was gonna show him?
oh, that was so funny. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. The violence was hilarious to me
It was.
because yeah, like that dude was. Oh, he cooked his ass. And she was like, "I said, just show him we mean business." And he was like, "Yeah, I did."
Did what you asked.
Like, how is this not showing him we mean business?
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude
so
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And why would
Hooked his
Gamora
ass
just
up.
give her coordinates to just anybody?
I guess
Like
she
that-
figured you must be a random Ravager because
That's what I
whenever,
thought too. Yeah.
whenever the tall lady was like, "Greetings," I was like, so Gamora, you just cool with
Yeah.
that clearly not being
Thank you.
You
I'm like,
knew
I
you
would've been
called
like,
the dude.
Yeah. If I call your phone and some random like woman answers,
Yeah,
this
some
like
British
with a
lady
random
answers.
British,
yeah.
I'm be like, "Where Jordan?"
What is this? Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
where Jordan is? She's like, I'll be like, "Nah, I'm good. I'll call him back
Where I was
later."
like, oh yeah, that's all right.
but
Yeah.
so I'm assuming that was just an open communication to all of the Ravagers. It had to be.
Maybe,
but
maybe so.
She called his
Even-
name though.
Oh well, then I can't help because
Yeah, she called his name.
obviously he doesn't sound like her, and so
Thank you.
for her to be like, yes,
Yes, this
is he.
Yeah.
Here, I'm sending you my coordinates. Come get me. She was like, "Oh, of course we can. Of course we can do that.
Yeah,
That won't be a problem at
nah,
all."
I don't trust it.
Yeah. So that was that was wild, but
Yeah.
whatever. So obviously, they want to capture Rocket because they are trying to get back in the High Evolutionary's good graces, and so Adam Warlock shows up and. Well, before that, while they're upstairs having the meeting, she's like, "All right, now." And so Pigma goes and kind of and got there and was almost successful with abducting Rocket. And then Adam Warlock showed up, and I love that Adam Warlock's pet was one of the little Talo creatures.
Yeah, that was funny. He didn't have to do pigment like that.
Wait, what do you mean it was one of the Talo creatures? Or you just mean it looked like it?
It looked like one. It may not have been, but it was probably just some random weird alien. But it looked like a Talo creature.
Mhm.
I gotcha.
But yeah, and just necked the whole spot like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
Yeah, he ripped that thing off.
Because I thought it was just a neck, but when the head separated, I was like, oh no.
Well, you didn't have to do that. I mean, Pigment was trying to do too much, but still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, Pigma was definitely not that thing's name. Pigma is a reference from something else.
Oh,
Larry will know exactly what I'm talking about.
It reminded me
I
of the pig from Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah,
There's
what's
a-
his name?
there's a
Yeah, I
pig
know
on
what
there
you're talking about. Yep.
I think this one was like War Pig or something.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You're
Oh
right,
yeah,
David.
you're right.
I think its name was Warpig, but Pigma is from Star Fox 64. And so Larry's gonna get that reference, and that's who it was there for. Anyway, so they in the meeting, Star-Lord was like, there was an octopus selling crack to children.
Oh yeah, I noticed that.
They was in the hood, bro. What's up?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
was
It was in the
there was-
hood and counter.
There was some nonsense going on because there was a fight happening.
Yeah.
There was some children getting addicted to that crack rock.
Yeah, they went from the suburbs to the
Crack,
hood real
crack, crack.
fast.
Yeah.
And that was wild. So Mantis gets left outside, and then whenever Star-Lord brings up like, "Oh, your little perfect world is not great," he's like, "Yeah, I know, and I'm done with it." So
Boom.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go ahead and push the delete button.
Right. So I'll delete us stuff.
Freaking Drax, Gamora is talking to Drax, not Gamora, but Nebula's talking to Drax. Say, Drax, bring the shit. He's like, I would, but she's like, where are you at?
Yeah, he was like,
that was hilarious.
So whenever, like that person was riding by on their little motorcycle and he just clotheslined. I was like, oh,
That was
Jesus.
hilarious. That was hilarious.
The clothesline was mean.
Mean. I'm like, you can just grab him. You have to like take his head off.
Yeah, oh God,
Bradshaw.
Yeah, and then of course, Nebula or Mantis was like, "Oh, we're gonna go back to the ship." Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then when
stupid.
And then when he didn't,
I'm like, come on now, you should have known.
Darn you, Drax.
Yeah.
I know Mantis makes fun of Drax for being dumb, and then she does stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
that's why Nebula was pissed.
Yeah.
Where y'all
know
at?
better.
Yeah.
Oh, Nebula was so
right behind you.
Yeah, because she was like, "Yeah, bring the ship right now," and he was like, "Oh, about that."
Yeah. He's like, I told you, stay with the ship. Like,
yeah, like who's watching Rocket? If
exactly.
y'all are, yeah. So that was stupid. Like,
incredible.
I was mad at it for that reason. Like, the fact that Rocket's just in there alone now.
Thank you. And you left
Gamora. Yeah, Gamora trying to get out.
Yeah, Gamora don't care.
I thought honestly Gamora was going to try to give him up because like she's just trying to get him out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's a Ravager. So she would just want to collect the highest,
Yeah, because she might take him and be like, "I got him. What do you want for him?"
Exactly.
Yeah. But Gamora's a good guy at heart or whatever. So she was like, "They must really love you to be doing all this nonsense."
Exactly.
And then whenever Pigma showed up, she was like, "I am protecting this badger."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love the way she kept calling him a badger.
Oh, like I was enjoying the bingo game of rodents he gets referred to as.
Yeah, because somebody call him a squirrel.
So he has the ones that I have heard across the movies. He has been called a squirrel, a rabbit, a hedgehog, a badger, and a raccoon.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because Thor calls him Rabbit.
Yeah.
The
rabbits.
The tall lady was calling him a squirrel. Somebody called him a hedgehog, and I think Gamora called him a badger.
That's funny.
So I think
respect.
Sylvester Stallone may have been the one that said hedgehog, but either way, like just a bingo game of rodents. I was enjoying it. But so Star-Lord and Groot jump off with the guy, and he was like, "You're gonna kill us," and he was like, "No, I'm not. Don't worry about that."
Yeah, that was brutal.
That was a death. I was like, really? Did we need to do that?
Yeah, like skidded his ass
on him into the ground.
Skidded his ass. I was like, ooh,
and then drown him.
Dead.
And then rip his head thing off.
Yeah, when he was in the water. I think he was dead by the time he hit the water.
Yeah, I thought they were just gonna like scare him or like hover along the ground, but they're just like straight.
I did too.
Yeah, I thought
I definitely thought, like he was gonna be like, okay, I'll give it to you, but no, he didn't get that option.
I thought like Groot was gonna do like a parachute type thing.
I did too.
No, they used homie as the brakes. Like,
I thought that Groot was gonna slow them down. No, he was the brakes.
That was a tough one. That was a death. I was like, all right, James Gunn. All right, brother.
Yeah. and again, I was like, this is a real loose PG-13.
Yeah, this ain't John Wick, man. You got to catch a bunch of bodies. Like, come on, man.
It's James Gunn. And again, I'm surprised Disney let him out the door with this.
Well, he probably was like, I'm leaving anyways.
Yeah, it was like that last day before you get fired. Yeah, it's like, just messed up everything.
Because again, this is the point when we hear that F word. Or before that, but like whenever they Scooby Doo this thing, that's the part where it happens. And when it happened, I was like, oh, I loved it. But
I thought it was perfectly timed.
I was surprised
because he was trying to get something done, and she was being stupid. He's like, open the fucking
that
was funny.
Yeah, like it was appropriate. It made sense. I thought it was great.
And it was something I would do too. She's like, the button doesn't work though. The button should have been here, and then it should have been.
Like everybody was in the right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like it was stupid.
It was them.
Yeah, it was. That was great.
Open. That was good, man. Because it just was unexpected. Like that's not a moment where you think he would. Out of all the things that happened to him in that movie, That's not the time.
That's the
you think
moment
use
where
it.
he throws an F-bomb.
Exactly.
But yeah, he was in get shit done mode.
Exactly.
And
He's
when
like,
that
"I'm trying
happens,
to go."
yeah,
I'm
you
glad
gotta
they made
support
it to
me.
where he couldn't drive either. That
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah, when he was like, I was 8. When-
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, but he figured it out.
Yeah, he did. He's a
If he
pilot.
can, yeah, I was going to say, like, he's a pilot, so he got there eventually.
Right.
But, so yeah, the skidded dude on the ground, and of course, Nebula, Drax, and Mantis are like, oh shit, they're still up there. So we got to go get them.
I feel bad for them. They thought they were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I will say, whenever the 3 of them jumped, I thought, oh, we might lose somebody here.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, because then Mantis almost fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. I thought they were gonna die when they start going into higher up into space. I thought one of them might die then.
I thought that because it was happening to all 3 of them, they were going to get out.
Gotcha.
But like when they jumped, I thought, oh, somebody's not going to make the jump.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that because most of the people in this movie had a oh shit, they almost died moment. And I guess that was, well, Mantis's might have been when she landed on her neck.
Multiple times.
But that last one when they threw her in the pit,
Man, you
that
heard
one,
it.
yeah, like that one. Ooh,
It would have been a fitting death for Mantis. For everyone just or like when they're landing on the
in the pit.
No, the one where they're in space when they're trying to land and they turned on their like gravity shoes or whatever. And she just like dies on that, and everyone's just like, "What the heck?"
They're stupid.
That was like some Deadpool X-Force stuff. Like he just immediately died on
Right.
as soon as they started it.
yeah. So, they get on the ship. They see all the children, and it's like, oh shit. And those kids, were those kids supposed to be animal based? Because those kids looked very human.
At first, I thought so because they had the one that was running around a circle like a hamster, and then when you see them in the cages, they just look like regular kids.
Yeah, like they just looked like people. And
yeah, I think it was just kids.
Because I don't know if they were a different color or if they had anything going on, but like we saw like clear animal human hybrids, and I'm guessing the High Evolutionary was like done with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't.
Yeah, I wish they kind of explained that better. That was the one thing I was just kind of like they didn't really get into, other than just having a bunch of kids trapped in cages. But...
Yeah, I'm just like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
And so, yeah, we see all the kids, and then we see on the ship that Star-Lord has got the code, and I thought they were going to require Nebula for that, but they were just kind of able to do it.
Like they played it USB style, like just plugged it up to something.
Yeah, and then it just worked because like I thought that Nebula was going to have, because she had the whole like cyborg shit, so I thought that. Because whenever they got it the first time, she was the one who was like reading it and like all that. So whenever she wasn't there, I was like, how are they going to do this? But yeah, they just kind of plugged it in and it worked.
Right.
So Rocket starts to die and Gamora was like, he's gone. And Star-Lord was like, no, the fuck, he's not.
Right.
Not my friend.
On my watch. Yeah, not on my watch.
And started doing CPR. And then, of course, we see him in the light place, and he meets with Lila and does the whole, hey, can I go?
Right.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah,
that was tough.
And that scene was pretty standard. I think they attempted to trick us and be like, oh my god, are we gonna lose him here? But we all knew like this is not his time. Like she's gonna hit him with a not yet. That's how this happens every single time.
Yeah, and they weren't going to, basically kill Rocket at the start, have the whole movie be about saving Rocket, and then not save Rocket.
Yeah, like they're not about to not give Rocket like lines, or they're not about to not let Rocket get any redemption, or come to terms with like come face to face with him again. Like we knew, if you've ever watched a movie, you knew Rocket was going to have that. So, but they tried.
No, definitely, it was worth it. I appreciated him being able to see.
It worked out. See his friends.
Yeah, Lola and them again. Yeah.
Yeah, I called her Lola. Lola.
Lila. What was her name?
Lila.
Lila, yeah. Lola.
Yeah. and the other two. So he wakes up, and everybody's happy about it. And then again, for me, whenever he was like, "Where's Nebula?" And he was like, "Nebula didn't make it." He was like, "Well, then why the fuck is she calling you right now?"
Right.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh shit, Nebula's
Yeah.
alive." And so they have the whole like, "What are you doing alive? What are you doing alive?"
Right.
And then whenever Rocket talks and they hear him for the first time,
Yeah, man.
again, if I was gonna get got, it was right there.
Yeah.
Because
That was a lot.
Because whenever Peter was happy that Rocket was alive, that was one thing, and then Groot, but whenever they realized it, yeah, that was a powerful scene to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the High Evolutionary shows up and is like, "Go to sleep," and he throws them in the pit with the obelisks. And do we see them in Guardians 2?
I think it was a Guardians 1. Was it 2? Oh, it was the beginning of 2, right?
I feel like it was the opening of 2. Whenever
Yeah, because
Baby Groot
was
dancing.
open too. Yep.
Yeah. And then Mantis is like, they're not gonna harm us. All of those teeth aren't for us. And when that happened, I thought, okay, this might be where Mantis dies.
I thought the exact same thing.
Because I was like, I think that thing is going to just bite her in half.
Bro, I was like, hey, man, if you do that, that is cruel. Like, if she walks up.
That's some James Gunn shit. And
yeah.
I thought very specifically, like, that's a James Gunn thing to do.
It is. Like, her just be like, calm down, calm. And then she just eats her.
Yeah.
And then
wild.
we'd be like,
or
we were all screaming.
I thought it was going to eat her. And then she was going to, from inside of it, like, manipulate it.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
Like, because whenever I was like, okay, she may not die, I thought it was still going to eat her.
Yeah.
But it wasn't going to bite her off. It was going to, like, swallow her whole, and then from the inside, she was going to be like, yeah, you can let me out now.
Right.
But, yeah, she made friends with them, and that worked out. And then she used them to like bust through the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And then Star-Lord is like, "Kraglin, I need a favor." And they bring Nowhere in and pull out the barrels.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
They kind of felt like a Star Wars moment. Like when they first fired off the Death Star. That's what they reminded me of.
Yeah.
Okay. We see that. So, yeah, he pulls out the quadruple barrel, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think he had 4 barrels, and then and yeah, so the High Evolutionary at that point is like, "No, I still want my raccoon." And his squad is like, no, we're leaving.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, everybody, like, the coup just starts. Like, everybody is on the same page in the room. Like, no, fuck this guy. He clearly doesn't care about us, and he is hyper focused on this one thing, and we trying to live. So, like, all the guards turned to him, and he was like, and she was like, "I am the captain now."
Right.
And he was like, "No, you're not.
Boom.
Don't get it confused, honey."
My dude blew everybody up.
Yeah, he clears the room.
Clears the room. Yeah, that was his power set was kind of cool too.
Yeah, like and that's why I think he reminded me of Kang, because of how he was using his power on the ship. It felt like the same shit Kang was doing, just in purple instead of blue.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's just me. Like, it felt like they just reused that same thing, because Kang was doing that same, like, just telekinetically fucking people up and pushing them into walls and doing all of that. So, like, that felt familiar. So they are able to get the group back together, and then they use Cosmos telekinesis to build a bridge to save the children.
Yeah.
And whenever they were doing that...
Was that after the hallway scene? Like I
was going to ask.
the hallway scene where they're all fighting in the hall, and
I think that is after.
that was a great scene.
I think that is after. That was a
I
great
forgot about that.
scene.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, that was a really good scene. That's when Nebula's neck happened.
Yeah.
And she was just loose neck fighting.
Yeah.
Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah, when she got her shit rocked,
Yeah.
and her head was just loose. She was still shooting.
Yeah.
Oh, that
was a great
wild.
action scene though.
But it was cool because they really focused like on every single person. Like each
Mhm.
person
Yeah.
had like their own like moment. And no, it was really cool.
Everybody
Yeah.
was working. That was a really good scene.
Yeah.
I will say it was funny, like the stormtrooper thing, like how they started shooting, didn't hit anyone.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, that doorway wasn't that big.
Yeah,
Like,
somebody should have got clipped.
Somebody should have,
You're bound to get lucky.
Yeah.
yeah. But nah, nobody. And I was like, okay, whatever. That's fine.
Right.
It's a movie. I need to make peace with that. Henchmen can't shoot. Like that's
just the way it is.
That's
Poor
the way it
training
is.
throughout. Yeah.
like that's a staple. So yeah, that thank you for bringing that back up, because that was a very good scene. One of the, I mean, the movie was full of good scenes, but like that one was very good. Like as far as action scenes go in the MCU, honestly, like that was a good one.
Yeah.
So Adam Warlock shows up a fucking again.
Yep.
Whenever they are, saving the children and all that. And then they save his life, and he's like, but why would you do that? I'm the villain. And they were like, because we need you later.
Right.
What do you think this is? But
Another movie to make,
Everyone
buddy.
gets-
but because they're
everyone gets
heroes,
one.
and, Groot does the I am Groot, and it's like what he said was everyone deserves a second chance.
Right.
Okay. So while that's happening, Rocket comes across the animal cages, and he finds all the baby raccoons.
The babies.
Who did Rocket get? Because that had to be a new batch.
Yeah, that
of
got to be a
baby
different
raccoons.
group. Yeah, that's a different group. That got to be a different group.
Because
he got a little stepdaddy. He got a little kid out there.
Because Rocket's been a guardian for a while, and so this has got to be a new batch of babies.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's funny.
Anyway, he looks at the info and is like, raccoon. Yeah, okay, fine.
Right.
Because he spent all this time saying I'm not a raccoon. He never says that he's not anything else. He never says he's not a.
He always says ain't nothing like me in the galaxy.
No, I'm saying in the movies, like he'll say I'm not a raccoon, but anytime he was called like when Thor was calling him rabbit, he was like,
oh,
what? But he never said I'm not a rabbit. He would only say I'm not a raccoon.
Yeah, it's because calling raccoons like the N word. He's like he didn't want no. He can't be associated with that. See now.
But then he took the N word back.
Exactly. I know what James Gunn was doing just then.
Yeah, stupid, bro.
He took the N word. Yeah, he took the N word, made it good, put a positive spin. It's like when I say it, it's fine, but y'all can't say it.
Yes, it's a new R word out here. It's raccoon.
Yeah. I will say when the baby raccoon like went up to Rocket and like to start, it just seemed that was a really cool scene. That was a really cool, like touching.
He still had his key card.
Yeah.
I like that too. Like he kept that this whole time.
Well, they showed it.
Didn't
they show? I was David, go ahead and say it.
No, they showed at the very beginning of the movie, like in the first 30 seconds or something like that. I don't remember how quick it was, but he put it in his pocket, and then that was cool.
But I didn't know. I didn't need to know what it was yet. So
I thought it was because in the beginning of the movie, I thought it was just a cassette player.
I did too. I think that's what I thought. I thought it was a music something, because that's a thing.
Right.
So yeah, I'm glad you noticed it, because I would have had to catch that on the second watch.
Right.
So, he opens up the raccoon cages, and was he gonna open up the rest of them?
I think
he
hesitated.
It was looking like he opened the raccoons and was like, "All right, let's go, guys," and that was
Be
it.
blessed,
Yeah.
Willis. I'm be out.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Weird
just
for my
take these
people.
guys and head out real quick. And
Yeah.
That was
then,
another moment I thought he was gonna get got. It was right there.
That's
he was
true.
he was gonna get all of them, be all happy for a second, and then
bow.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So the High Evolutionary shows up, and Rocket is hemmed up, and then Rocket just kind of like touches his gravity boots and isn't hemmed up all of a sudden.
Well,
Oh,
he learned that he knows what the high evolutionary's power is about gravity, and so I feel like that's why he had those gravity boots.
Yeah, and he was using those at the beginning, but I didn't think that they were for the High Evolutionary.
Well, he's like Tony Stark, man. He's always thinking ahead. Now,
Okay.
I don't
'Cause,
think
yeah,
he would have thought about he would have fought the evolutionary, but
Yeah, because he was testing them out of them. He was like, "I'm just making sure these things work
right.
for whenever we need them." And I'm guessing that because it looked like they ended up using them whenever they went to the Orgo Corp.
right, yeah, on that little planet.
But that's not something that Rocket, like, they were doing that for Rocket. So, like, yeah, it's a good thing Rocket had them.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just kind of turned on his gravity boots and he was like, "All right, you're not a problem anymore, sir.
He's like, you're done.
Yeah, you're done. We're done here." And then the other Guardians show up, and again, the power of friendship.
Yeah.
They defeat him because he was all powerful for like a while, and then them gravity boots. It was like, and now you're useless.
Is that when we saw his face? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who peeled it off? Somebody, was it Gamora who just like?
Yeah, it was Gamora. Also, who drop kicked him too? Did y'all notice that? Like, I feel like Groot threw him, and somebody just came through and drop kicked him. Did y'all notice that when they was fighting? I think it was.
I'd have to go back and watch that because that sequence right there where they were just like tag teaming him or whatever was nice.
Yeah. Somebody drop kicked him. Like he was in the air flying, and somebody came through.
Yeah, I want to say it was Mantis because Mantis did a couple drop kicks. Like whenever they were fighting on Orgo Corp, like whenever
like Black Widow.
Yeah, like whenever they were like, "Let's not fight," she was the first one to throw a roundhouse.
Yeah.
Like she came out the gate like, "All right, we're doing this."
Right.
So,
his face was hideous, by the way.
Oh yeah, Rocket fucked him up.
It looked like Red Skull for sure.
Yeah, that was rough.
It was it was bad. And again, that I immediately jumped back to that Skeletor reference. I was like, that was a good one.
Yeah.
he's got a fucked up face and a regular body like Skeletor.
Right.
So that was great. But yeah, I did think it was funny that Gamora just like gently peeled his face back.
Yeah.
That was really fun. Like as if she was opening an applesauce. That was great. But so they just leave him there to die. And then they are able to get off, and then Star-Lord is like, "Oh no, my music." And so he goes for that.
Yeah, that's
when the cassette player fell, I was like, "Oh well,
there it is,
folks."
I said the same thing. As soon as the cassette player fell, I was like, "Well, there he goes."
It was like the Ant-Man 3 moment. I was like, "Yep, well, here it is."
Yep.
Yeah. And so whenever he started again, when he got all swole up, because when he was freezing, I was like, "There's still time."
Yeah.
And then when his face got all fat, I was like, "Oh, he's dead."
Yep.
He's dead. We're done.
Yeah.
And then when Groot tried to reach him and then started freezing and couldn't, I was up. All right, we're done here. Because
that was a wrap.
Because I was like, he doesn't have ego powers anymore. So
right.
There's no.
He's not immortal. Yep.
He's not coming back.
But I will say, Star-Lord always keeps his rocket shoes on, like his little booster shoes. I was wondering how come he didn't have them.
Because he had the gravity boots. I don't know.
Yeah.
Every time we've seen him, he's always had rocket boots on.
Yeah.
And maybe he didn't wear them with those particular boots. He put on a new suit. You know what I'm saying?
It clashed with his suit.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I attributed that to the gravity boots, but I don't know.
I also thought that was gonna be a moment like maybe Gamora was gonna die. That was my last like thought was like
Oh, just
how
save him. Yeah.
kind of like a callback to the first one where he saved her.
Yeah.
Like she was going to go out
that
there,
was a
and
good
then
point.
but then I was like, this isn't the actual Gamora, so killing her wouldn't really like have that same feeling. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But again,
did they do the whole like in the painting where
did.
you
They
finger? Okay, I thought I saw that myself.
Is that
and I was like,
Michelangelo?
wait, what?
it's
Yeah.
the creation of Adam.
Yeah,
That's right.
And in that painting, God is reaching out and touching
Right.
Adam. And in this case,
is that
Adam,
Michelangelo?
Yes, I
You
believe so.
really want to know?
Come on, David. I assume you know it, David.
Look it up, but I don't
was
know
like,
that off the top of my head.
I'm fairly confident that
But
it
yeah,
is
we saw
Michelangelo.
Adam reaching out, and his name is Adam. So
Am I an
Yes.
art enthusiast, Jordan? Do I appear that way to you?
yeah, kind of like Brandon said, we just assume anything. You just know everything. You could do anything.
Yeah, I'm fairly confident it's Michelangelo because I don't think it's Da Vinci.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I
But
just wondered if I saw that myself or if that was like
No, they
for
did it.
sure
no,
what they were doing.
no, they absolutely did that. Like that was
Okay, just making
that was
sure.
very intentional. Because when I saw it, I was like, "Yep,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, you saw that." The roles were a little switched, but because that painting is called "The Creation of Adam,"
Mhm.
and Adam Warlock was created, like
Yeah,
all that.
that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that was absolutely
Got it.
what happened.
Got it.
So, he gets saved by Adam Warlock again. That's the one that got me. That's the one where I was like, oh yeah, he's dead. And then when he wasn't, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Because they played Change of Heart earlier,
Mhm.
and that was easy. So then the band breaks up. Star-Lord is like, hey, I'm going to spend some time with my grandpa.
Mhm.
And Mantis is like, I need to figure out who I am because I have spent my entire life taking orders from people. And Nebula's like, I am going to be the mayor.
Yeah.
And Drax is coming with me.
That was I don't want to say it was random, but I thought Nebula would be like, all right, like
Well, she need him for the kids.
I mean, I knew that part, but I'm saying just Nebula being like, no, my responsibility is here. I didn't see that coming.
Mm.
Okay.
She feels really connected to the city.
To the point where she wants to run it.
Right. Maybe so.
And then yeah, she was like, and Drax is coming with me because I'm not raising these damn kids.
Exactly.
So Drax, you got it. I'm gonna let you ball out.
But the breakup scene, that was really good. And everybody's reasons seemed like they were all reasonable. It wasn't like some like far-fetched thing.
Yeah.
I agree. And Peter and Rocket have been fighting over being captain for years, for every movie now. So for him to like personally give that responsibility to Rocket was really cool.
And I figured it was a callback to Infinity War whenever Thor said to Rocket, like, you're a great captain. And Rocket was like, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
A good point. I didn't even think about that either.
Yeah, so I thought it was a callback to that. And so yeah, because I remember the whole like, oh, let me ask the captain. Oh wait, that's me.
Yeah.
Like that was great.
I forgot about that.
So yeah, he actually officially hands over the captainness to him. And then Gamora goes back to the Ravagers and they're just happy to see her.
Did y'all think she was going to be like, I might stick around these guys a little bit? Did y'all think she was going to stick around? I thought she was for a minute.
It didn't feel like it because she was very like aloof on purpose. Like she was trying to keep her distance.
Yeah, and I think just in general, I know the actor is Zoe Saldana.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. She didn't want to do any more MCU, so I didn't think she'd be in it anymore.
I will say the scene, I think it might have been better if the scene where she was sitting inside of Star-Lord's room, I thought that she was going to be sitting inside her old room. Like I thought they would have kept her room how it was and she would have walked into her room and then saw like pictures of her old or the other self and seen like all this other stuff that the other Gamora had. Like I thought that's what they were going to do. But then when I saw, she's inside Star-Lord's room, I was like, oh, okay, never mind then. Because I thought that would have been interesting to see like all these memories from this other Gamora.
Right.
That
Yeah,
would
that would
have
be interesting.
That would have been a good move. So
then we get this new squad of Guardians.
yeah, and Groot is huge now.
Yeah, my boy been beefing up.
Yeah, like I assume I assume this is full grown Groot.
Yes.
Yeah, like Groot was massive.
Definitely more comic accurate version of Groot, I feel like.
Okay.
At least from the old school Guardians of the Galaxy. New school is definitely way more like they have it now. But old school, his head's like bigger.
It's like super massive, like a tree trunk.
Yeah, it's like longer. He doesn't look as cool, I would say. He looks more like a monster in the older versions.
Oh, we didn't even talk about Kaiju Groot either. That was pretty good. And when he got super massive on the planet Counter Earth.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I did too.
I want to say, so we talked. So the new squad of Guardians. So we got Rocket, Cosmo, Groot.
And, I have one more thing.
Okay.
Whenever oh god, what is dude's name? Kraglin. Whenever Kraglin like mastered the
what's
whistle?
his name? Yeah.
I knew that's how that was gonna go. Like,
yeah.
I leaned over to my friend and I was like, watch, he's gonna master the whistle. And yeah, like whenever he saw Yondu, I was like,
Yondu,
here we are. Yep.
With your heart, boy.
Yeah, he's just
I
gonna
like the Yondu
boy
cameo. That was fun.
Yeah, he's just gonna know how to do it now. Watch. And that's exactly what happened. He just knew how to do it now. And I was like, yep.
Yeah. I rewatched Guardians 2 recently, and the Yondu moment still gets me. And I've noticed that he says "think with your heart" a lot in that movie, so it definitely carries over. But
It's funny, whenever Kraglin did that, like, so me and Lindsay were watching, and it was pretty full theater. I mean, we just start cracking up. Like, we just think it's hilarious that he's doing, and everyone's like looking at us like they're like all serious. I'm like, okay, you guys, this is like a hilarious moment where he just all of a sudden has mastered this arrow and whistle.
That's the Shang-Chi, her shooting the archery. Yeah, that's that moment for this movie.
This isn't even that. Like,
this ain't
he's been practicing. He's been working it out. And then he saw the vision of we knew this was going to happen, but the Shang-Chi one was just stupid.
That's just dumb.
Yeah,
stupidity.
But one of the things. So of course there's dancing in this movie because dancing is a huge part of this. Mr. Percival, I don't want you to feel attacked by this comment.
This is definitely about to be attacked.
Yeah, this is definitely.
I don't know if it's me, but white people do a lot of their dancing like above the shoulders.
Yes.
Like there's a lot up here.
Well, I mean,
there's also
this white person doesn't do any of that, any dancing whatsoever. So
oh, that's funny.
And I mean, I know that not everybody there was white. There was a lot going on, but white people they keep it up high a lot of times.
We do the little two-step side to side with the hand movements and the shoulders. That's it.
Yeah, a lot of hands and shoulders above the heads, and sometimes like if they have hair, there's a lot of hair throwing. Like, I notice white women will throw their hair all day long when they're dancing.
But that's too funny.
That was just I don't know if I'm the only one who's seen that, but
I've never seen that. Never.
It just feels like when white people dance, they keep it up high.
They're having a good old time. That's all.
Let me look back at the last 10 weddings I've gone to. So
I would say weddings
for the wedding.
Oh goodness, that was I was falling out laughing during the dancing scenes, and I'm sure people were confused. But, I was like, this is hilarious to me. But okay, so
what'd you say?
Okay,
I was saying the new Guardians.
Yes, so we had Rocket, Groot, Kraglin, Cosmo, the little girl,
Philaville, which before we started recording, I told the guys I thought that was Thor's daughter from Love and Thunder.
This is a wild.
Yeah, like I don't know how.
I just thought because I didn't think that the other girl that this person is, I didn't think she was going to have no role in this, and so I just automatically thought, because remember Thor was with the Guardians for a while, so I was like, maybe he decided to he was like, maybe she would be best with them, so I thought that's why she was there, but I was wrong.
Yeah, no, that was not her. If any of y'all thought that too, please come to Jordan's defense. But we were all confused. We were like, how in the hell did you think that little girl was from Love and Thunder? Like, no.
This is a huge jump.
Yeah. She's,
I mean, it was an end credit scene, so I was like, maybe that's what it was.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Oh, can we just talk about quickly how, it's funny that Peter shows up to his grandpa's house. A black woman opens the door. He's like, "Oh, I must have the wrong house."
Yeah, like surely. I don't think this is the right place.
I'm sorry. I
my bad.
completely messed up here.
He's like, "Ain't no way hell my grandpa was liking black women when I left." He pulls us. Whoa.
She was like, "Oh no, honey. Come on in."
Yeah, he back here. Don't worry.
Yeah,
yeah. You guys texted us that after you finished watching it, but I guess I forgot that she was in the second one.
What?
There was a scene where we just saw this. We watched some video just a couple hours ago where they're like, it shows the grandpa and whatever Mrs. whatever her name is, Grandma Quill. They're like in their car when Ego, right, is taking over his, I don't know exactly what the scene is, but their car gets almost hit by Ego and almost gets flipped. You'll have to go back and check it out. I completely forgot that was a thing. But I think she was in the car with him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's dope. But yes, that was a cool moment.
Texted that and that was funny.
Yeah, I thought about that for a minute. I was like, okay, Grandpa Quill,
jungle fever.
Yeah, do you think, fam? But the new Guardians crew. The one thing about the Guardians of the Galaxy is it's known to have the crew that we've been having, right? But Guardians is also known to change, right? They had a revamp a few years ago. They had Silver Surfer. It had a few people from the Thor universe, Valkyrie, a few other people. So it's
what's her name? And Human Torch. Yeah.
Human Torch. Yeah.
And you mentioned that Adam Warlock has in the comic books been a part of it. And that's the thing. I feel like that's any group can have anybody. The only group that I feel like has any exclusivity is the X-Men, because you have to be a mutant. But also the X-Men's got 1,000, everybody's X-Men. And with the Avengers, everybody's been an Avenger at some point.
Right.
With the Guardians, it's all the groups, everybody's been in them. Fantastic Four is pretty exclusive.
No, I mean, even they changed because She-Hulk was part of Fantastic Four and Ant-Man.
Spider-Man. I know they have changed, but because there are 4 of them, they can't do too much. They can't go wild.
True.
The other groups do.
Even though it's 6 of them now. It was Valeria and Franklin.
But Guardians, because I know in the comics, Rocket dies and they replace him. It's a lot of times where Peter goes off on his own adventure on Earth. I think they may be following. Rocket ends up dying. The Drax and Gamora are doing their own thing, and then there's a whole new Guardians of the Galaxy group outside of those main characters.
You're talking about that grounded storyline.
Yeah, so
what you're talking about.
Am I excited about this particular group of Guardians? No, I'm not. This is the JV group.
I don't know. This is JV.
This is JV.
This is below.
But if you gave me
this might be 4th string.
Yeah, if you give me a Rocket and Groot show.
Oh yeah, I'm in there
something.
For that.
I'm down. I'm in there.
Yeah, give me a Disney Plus for that.
Yeah, but I don't need this crew. I'll be honest.
But you don't like change. You don't like mantles. You don't like anybody. Yeah, you don't like replacements. You don't like any of that
If you
shit.
give me
Because you just
Groot,
said like Rocket and Groot, that's it.
if you give me Rocket, Groot, Silver Surfer, Valkyrie,
Yeah, you ain't getting all that.
that's what I'm saying. Like, if you give me actually good characters, sure. I don't give a damn about Kraglin is the JV version of Yondu. I don't want that.
Hey, don't bash Cosmo. Don't bash Cosmo.
Cosmo,
He's a good dog.
yeah,
He's a good
I'm
dog.
cool on Cosmo, man. No offense. Too many pets in this damn universe. Let's relax with the pets.
Why do you have a Russian accent when you talk out of a box? But okay.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like, all right, man. Let's chill with. I know we're trying to sell toys here, but Jesus.
So one question that I don't know if this comes up or if it's just mentioned, but one of the questions that this movie kind of like has looming is, what does God mean? Because in this movie, there are some characters who refer to the High Evolutionary as a god, and the High Evolutionary refers to the Celestial Head as a god, but then says there is no god, so I stepped in.
Oh, good point.
And Thor has been referred to as a god. Like there's a lot of that. So in the they kind of they don't do it overtly necessarily, but one of the things I noticed is that they bring up the question of, what does God mean in this universe?
Right, because all the Eternals was basically gods as well in their own respective like area of the earth.
But then who created them is also seen as a god by depending on who you ask. And so, yeah, like, are there god tiers, or
we've got lowercase? You have lowercase g, uppercase G.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? Fucking superhero world. That's a whole chart in itself. I feel like.
I guess I want to mention, I will say, and this might be a hot take, might not be, but I don't think Adam Warlock should have been in this movie, or at least they should have gave him more to do. Like I feel like they could have completely took him out the movie, been just fine.
Well, he was the cause for things. Like we needed him to kick the movie off.
I mean, you really didn't need him.
You could have just sent a mercenary group.
Yeah, exactly.
They pull up.
The pig people could have tried to do it.
Yeah, and then you're like, what the hell are these people doing? And they're like, we're here for the raccoon, and then start the whole thing.
Yeah, like he had no real purpose in this movie.
And
it was definitely a letdown. I was
surprised by that because he's so important in the comic books.
I agree.
So
yeah, exactly.
The fact that he was kind of just like a side character used for some like random comedy was surprising. It didn't bother me. Like his inclusion wasn't an issue for me necessarily, but I was surprised at how he was used.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I think they could have been taken out the movie. It would have been fine.
Because the way that Guardians 2 teased him, he was going to be a lot more important. And
everyone was expecting the comic, like, either for him to be evil, either for him to be kind of in the middle, playing the middle, you know, whatever. But yeah, in this case, it's just, I don't know. It was a little sillier version of him.
Because when Guardians 2 like dropped his name, whenever they said Adam, I was like, I wonder if they're going to do with him what they should have done with the Hulk. Like he's going to be
him.
Yeah, like he's going to be good sometimes, but he's going to be a problem sometimes, and they're going to have to address him being a problem. Kind of like how, you know, Scarlet Witch was good and then she like wasn't. I was wondering if he was gonna be introduced as, you know, I'm here to help, I'm a good guy, and then they were gonna get to the point where it's like, no, he's an issue. But I thought he was gonna be an issue later, like whenever we get to like Kang's stuff. I thought he was gonna be an issue then. But
yeah,
either way, Jordan, I assume you have the Rotten Tomatoes on the way.
I do. You know what? We forgot to talk about like what our scores was like before talking about it and now after. But I guess we can ask him now, starting with you, Spencer, what would you rate this movie out of 10?
8.5.
Miranda?
I was struggling with this one. Yeah, it fits the criteria. It's at least above an 8. It's a 10. I'm gonna roll with 8.5 as well.
David, what about you?
I can't be the third person to say 8.5, but like based on where I have it in my ranks as of now, that kind of fits, whether it's like in between 8.5 and 9, I would say.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I told David and Brandon yesterday, we were texting a little bit about it. I gave it an 8.5 walking out of it, and I still stick with my 8.5. It's sad that all four of us, but I mean, that's what it is. It is what it
Yeah.
is.
So
Definitely fits in that point.
do you know where it fits into your total MCU ranking?
I do. I have mine updated, and I can tell you that right now. So
All right.
I actually had to move down the other Guardians of the Galaxy because I put it above it. So right now for me, it is sitting at the number 6 movie. So right, right, it's right ahead of Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and right behind Infinity War for me.
Goodness.
And
Okay.
it actually pushed Black Panther to the number 11.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
That's my man, and I stand by him.
Okay.
Man.
What about y'all? Have y'all updated y'all rankings yet?
I have.
What are you,
I have
Spencer?
not.
For me, it comes in at number 11. So Shang-Chi is 10. I have this at 11. and-
Wait. You have this?
Uh-oh.
Hold on, Spencer.
Yep.
Hold on. You have this behind Shang-Chi.
I do.
All right. Okay.
Shang-Chi is my number 10 now, too. Black Panther was 10, but it got moved out. So, yeah. David, you updated yours?
No, I haven't officially done it, but it'll be around 11 or 12, which like I have Iron Man 10 and then Black Panther 11. So it's like right behind that.
Okay. So I guess once, Brandon, once you update yours, we'll have to reconvene, kind of talk about it.
I think it's top 12-ish range. It's definitely better than Shang-Chi for me. But
I agree.
But yeah, we'll see. It's definitely easily top 12. It doesn't matter where it falls in there. But
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, like again, I have it at 11.
yeah. 6 is a little crazy, but hey, that's your
Hey.
rankings. I get it. I
Hey.
respect you. You had Ant-Man 2 as a top 5 or whichever one you put.
He didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know. We talked about this. I got all those movies confused.
He had Ant-Man at number 8.
Yeah.
Something.
All right. Now's the time for Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes, I believe so.
So, David, no need for me to explain to you this game. You're a listener. So I will start with you. We're going to start with the critic score. So, David, closest to the bucket for people who may be new to it. We are going closest to the bucket without going over. So, David, what do you think the critic score is?
Critics, I'll go 80.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Spencer.
I was thinking closer to 90, because they love them some Guardians. Although, they don't necessarily love James Gunn. So I'll go 86.
Brandon.
I'm a little opposite there. I think they love James Gunn. Critics do, anyways. I will go 91.
Well, I will tell you, for the first time playing this game, David was the closest.
Oh, yeah.
The critic score is sitting at 81.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah. I'm very surprised at the 81.
That feels low. Like when he said 80, I was like, that's not enough.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
David, audience score. What do you think the audience score is?
Oh, it's going to be high. I'll go 96.
Spencer?
I'm thinking 94.
Brandon?
I'm going to go back 91.
Well, Spenser, you win this round. The audience score with over 5,000 reviews is sitting at a 95%.
Oh, dang it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. That
And,
that feels right.
And the critic score had 288 reviews so far. So we're only 4 days into the movie being out.
Yeah,
So,
but I don't see that going up a bunch. Like
I
I'd
think
be
it-
surprised if it. I'd be surprised if it cracks 85 if it's at 81 right now.
No, I don't think it'll crack it. I feel like it can go a percent or two after the first weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. No, it was definitely much. I was nervous going into it because I was like, please don't make this like a dumb movie, try
man.
to crack a bunch of corny, silly. I was very nervous going into it that it was going to be kind of a snoozer, and then it was definitely exceeded my expectations.
Agreed.
Same.
I went in nervous for a couple reasons. A, the last 10 movies, not spectacular if you're looking at an average.
Yeah.
And then y'all know, generally speaking, how I feel about Guardians. I feel like the first one is far too overhyped, but with those two things being the case, yeah, I went in thinking I think I went in the same way I went into Ant-Man 3. Like, we'll see what happens. I initially was very excited about Ant-Man 3 because of the quantum mania, but then when I saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and how that name didn't quite match up to what happened, my excitement for Ant-Man dipped a little bit because I was like, I don't know if quantum mania is what we're going to get. And so whenever I went into Ant-Man, I was like, I'm mildly excited, but let's see what happens. And so for this, it was a similar, like, I'm mildly excited. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. I'm definitely in the same boat. Like, I didn't have a ton of expectations. I knew it was going to be the last one, so that adds a little pressure to it. But for the most part, yeah, it was, I was like, we'll see. Guardians 2 was definitely, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. But then I was also like, damn, James Gunn's been kind of cooking for the last 5 years with whatever he puts out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, he might be able to, finish this thing off the right way. So, yeah, but outstanding movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Are there any other questions that we got?
I guess one thing we didn't really talk about was after the both post credit scenes, they mentioned that Star-Lord will return. I didn't know what you guys' thoughts were on that.
I don't know where he's going to show up.
I think they're going to do the comic book run where he's on Earth. Like, there's a long run where he's on Earth.
I think it's the Grounded series. I was texting somebody about this, and I was saying it would be cool if somehow once they work the Fantastic Four in, that Peter Quill and kind of Reed Richards or I said the Thing, they would basically be buddy and talk about like space adventures together. I think that would be kind of cool to see. That's when Peter pops up again, is when the Fantastic Four. But other than that, yeah, I don't know where he's going to show up. Yeah. What if he gets his own like Disney Plus show where he's actually on Earth and you kind of see some little hijinks adventures of him learning how to be human?
I'd be cool with that. I just don't think some people are off on Chris Pratt, so I don't know if that's going to work.
My assumption was that he was going to cameo in the Marvels, but I think that was just me deciding, like, oh, he's here now, so we're going to see him in that.
Yeah.
But
did Nick Fury ever meet Peter?
I don't think so.
No. I'm going to say no.
So I was going to say,
because Nick Fury was on Earth when everybody got dusted. And
they're at the funeral though, right? So I guess that's kind of meeting.
Were the Guardians at the funeral?
No, I don't think the Guardians
weren't there.
I remember seeing them. Because they didn't really have a relationship with
I know
with Tony. Because I was gonna say if that was the case, like maybe maybe Nick could introduce Peter.
But
to
Nebula would
Captain
have
Marvel.
absolutely been at the funeral
Why?
because
Oh,
Nebula
you
and
talking about 'cause
Tony.
at the beginning spent that time together.
I think that's what I was
Oh.
thinking was Nebula was there. So that's why I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, Nebula. Nebula ain't bad.
But the Guardians were there were a lot of people, so the Guardians were probably in the shot.
There was a lot.
I don't think they were
Because
there.
I feel like I remember Groot being there.
Nah, I don't think they were there.
No, well, let me look up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would be excited for Star-Lord series. I remember I read a grounded Star-Lord comic, and I enjoyed it. He was like down on his luck, he was struggling a little bit, so it'll be a little different. But I just think people are off on Chris Pratt right now. He's kind of overexposed. He's in everything right now. So
Yeah, he was there. So not that that's. I mean, anyway. But yeah, I kind of think
Peter was there.
Yeah,
at
he
the
was.
funeral.
all the
Yeah.
Guardians probably.
Yeah,
I
they
feel,
all
like,
were
I
there.
feel like the Guardians were in their own little section.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
So
Because I feel like I
Avengers.
remember. I feel like I remember seeing Groot because everybody was wearing black,
yeah,
but Groot didn't have clothes on. So
he was a
that's
little
why I was
awkward
like,
teenage Groot.
yeah,
Mm.
that's why I remember seeing Groot because he wasn't
Yeah.
wearing black.
No, I
Yeah.
think I think it's just going to be. I don't think it'll be a big movie I think it'll just be kind of a cameo appearance in something. Is kind of my thought.
Yeah. I can see
Well,
that.
could be secret. Oh, we're tripping. We could have been Secret Wars. They are planning a Secret Wars comic book. I mean, I was a comic book movie. So I mean,
Yeah.
he could show up there again.
You could. Definitely. I think that Guardians team will show up there too.
Yeah, I don't want that.
I think
They won't be
everybody's
there.
going to be in that.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Exactly.
I think that the whole point is that we're gonna see everybody current, but yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
So, okay. Well, if there's no other questions, we gotta let the people know. Let us know what you think about the Guardians movie. You can do so by joining us on Facebook at the League of Melanated Gentlemen podcast. And yeah, just let us know what you think of the Guardians movie. If you enjoyed it, if you did enjoy it, what you liked about it, what you didn't like. I assume everyone cried at the movie. So yeah, just let us know. Once again, David, we thank you for joining us.
Yes,
It's
sir.
always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Well, fellas, we'll never duplicate it.
Always appreciate it.
And forever melanated.